At White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, we believe that greatness is in the details. Each decision we make is for the benefit of our patients and our community. This means using industry-leading technology to help you achieve your goals and uncover your perfect smile. Our precision and efficiency results in an experience that is both pleasurable and affordable. White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, applying precision and elegance to your smile.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry I had to put up the volume there for a second. But good evening and welcome here to Talking Sports. William Warfield here. Darren Douglas also in the house with me as well. Let me find you on our there you are, Darren.
There I am.
There you are. We got a good show tonight for everybody. A lot of you guys have been following our Twitter feed all day today, but we got author, motivational speaker, and assistant coach right now. Used to be a head coach with all the high school teams around here, and he's got many life experiences that maybe he could tell us about here tonight. But Coach DeAngelo Weiser going to be joining us here this evening. We also got Mack Calvert, the voice of Woodford County Athletics, going to be joining us. And then also joining us tonight is Simon Kenton women's soccer head coach Rob Zoeller. He's going to be joining us here tonight as well. His daughter Abigail, committed to the University of Kentucky, going to be playing for the Wildcats this coming season. So we got all that going on tonight, and we're going to hop right into it. And let's go ahead and start. Coach DeAngelo Weiser going to be joining us in just 1 second. There you are, Coach. How you doing? Let me turn up your volume and make sure. There we go. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, great to be here. That intro that you guys produced would motivate anybody.
I appreciate that. I got to tell you, Coach, you had an amazing run here lately. It seems like big things happening for you. You got a brand new book out. I know you're working on another one, but talk to me, Coach, about some of the things that are happening right now in your life. And I know you've been blessed with all these great things happening.
Yeah, I mean, we're staying busy working on our second book. We're really pleased with how our first book has gone. Working with a lot of teams in the area, a lot of camps. So we're and doing some conventions as well, some speaking. So we're staying really busy at this point.
Coach, this is your book right here. It's called Winning Your Players Through Trust, Loyalty, and Respect. How did this all come about?
It's just my personal philosophy through coaching and watching and observing a lot of championship coaches and blending together my personality into it as with respect to how we conduct ourselves around our players and what we expect out of our players. So it's a whole philosophy as far as I'm concerned.
You've had a great career, Coach. I've been following you, I think, ever since I started. Matter of fact, I think you got me started, when you started there with East Jessamine. I didn't get a chance to cover you when you were over at West, but, you took off that year. You went to Alaska. You had, I believe it was back surgery at the time. You came back with East Jessamine, and that's kind of where you and I began our relationship for a second time. A lot of folks don't know this or not, but, I was actually, when I was a freshman in high school, you were my teacher.
Right. Great memories there. At that school, because it was one-on-one. It's a lot of the same philosophy that I like to talk about with respect to working with your players, and it affords a lot of young people a chance with that personal touch.
You're one of the all-time winningest coaches in the state of Kentucky. Has that settled into you now that you kind of step back just a little bit? I know you're working on your book and doing a lot of motivational speaking, but just to think back, Coach, and think about all the things that you've accomplished, that's got to make you so proud.
From the beginning, we had a lot of parents involved, a lot of administrators involved. We started on the field that's now East Jessamine's field, and the whole program has grown through that. And to see soccer succeed in the community is really what pleases me. If you talk about wins and losses, personally, I've never won a game. I've lost several, but I've never won a game. But I've had a lot of players that have won a lot of games over the years, and I've been blessed to have some very good players, and we still stay in touch, most of us, and that's what really means something to me.
I know you got involved early on with the alumni game that they have here in Jessamine County, and a lot of your players. You could just tell, every time I talk to some of the former players of yours, they think the world of you. It's not all about soccer with you, though. It's always been about life lessons and teaching them a little bit something extra outside of the soccer.
It's always going to be, and that's what we're doing with Wiser Sports Leadership. We want to keep that fire burning in coaches to make them realize that it goes beyond the game. The positive impact that they have the chance to share with their players is every day. Every day, those young people look us in the eye as coaches, and they look to us as role models in a world that sometimes can be chaotic, and they need somebody to lean on. They need a mentor. There has to be a connection between a coach and a player.
You certainly had that connection with everybody that you've coached over the years. Like I said, a lot of good things that people say about you, and it's not just about the game of soccer. It's, for me, Coach, just thinking back on it, you kind of motivated me right away because I was starting out, just starting out what we called ourselves Central Kentucky Sports at the time. This was back in 2007, I believe, 2008, somewhere around in there. But I listened in to you talking to your players one day in a huddle, and we talked about this after the fact too. But one of the things that you set out, or that you said to your players, was to start a spark, and it'll create a fire. And I've always thought that in the back of my mind. Anytime that I put my foot forward to try to do something, is I always continue to try to light that spark, or light that fire with that spark. And that's one thing that I took, even though you weren't coaching me, but I listened into you, and it's just always been there with me, Coach.
Yeah, it's finding that, and that's an old Bruce Springsteen song. You can't start a fire without a spark, and I love to play that from time to time. But irregardless, players need to know, and we need to know as individuals, that somebody believes in us, because I think we're all capable of doing so much for other people and even for ourselves, but we need somebody, a mentor, a friend, somebody that says, you know what, I believe in you, I've seen you at your best, you can do this, let's go.
Talk to me about, I'm looking here on your video feed there, and I think it's pretty cool that, all that behind you there, you got a bunch of pictures of looks like some of your former players or some of your current players there. I know you're still actively involved with Asbury, your assistant coach over there right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm working for Brooke Lincoln, and I don't mind telling you, she's one of the bright young coaches in America. I expect her to take on any job that's available. She's doing a wonderful job at Asbury. She's dedicated to the players. I'm pretty tedious as far as who I would work for. And, she checked me out, but I'm not sure she knows I checked her out probably more thoroughly. And I've enjoyed working with her, and she's straightforward. She lets you know where you stand, even if you're at my age, and I appreciate that. So I really enjoy it. It's been a labor of love for me to be at Asbury.
Yeah, Asbury's a great place, too, right here in our own backyard. And I know you spent some time over at Midway as well. And there's just a ton of experience that you've got here. Besides East Jessamine, West Jessamine, Midway, and Asbury, where else have you been, Coach?
Well, I mean, if you want to count Jessamine County, because that was the very first program. If there's anything I'd like to hang my hat on, is the fact that I've coached the girls at all three high schools within this county, if you count Jessamine County as a school, before they split. So, and I think that's something that'll never be touched. And the young people that I had the chance to stand in front of and work with and share experiences with is something I'll cherish the rest of my life.
Let's dig into this book that you've got out there. I've read, I'm not going to lie to you, I've read bits and pieces of it, but I have read some of it, Coach, and winning your players through trust, loyalty, and respect. When you wrote this, you're sharing a gem with everybody. Every time I pick it up and just look at a couple paragraphs in there, I get something out of it. But what really motivated you to, put all of this in this book?
Well, it's just our ability to try to help somebody, challenges. That book, based on soccer, when I wrote it, has more life lessons in there than just soccer. I mean, there's no practice plans in there. There's no practice sessions. It's not based on that. It's based on your actions and your words every day. Let your players know what kind of and what's important to you. And in the old days, we could tell players what to do, and they were supposed to obey us, and that's been gone a long time. You have to let players know why you're doing something, how it's going to benefit them. But again, they have to trust you. They have to know that you have their back.
Yeah. What has the year been like for you at Wiser Sports Leadership?
It's been a busy year. We started off at the ABCA Volleyball Convention in Columbus. We were invited there to speak just on that book, Winning Your Players. We spoke before about 165 positive feedback with that organization. And then we've done a couple of camps for Jason Nidell at Western Kentucky University. He's a big advocate for us. If you visit my webpage, you'll see a couple of videos that include endorsements from him. He believes in what we're doing, and he lets us do that at camp with the high school players. Of course, Asbury's camp as well. And then I worked with Daniel Sandlin. He afforded me the opportunity to talk before the Jessamine County coaches annual meeting last year. And I felt like we did a good job there, and a lot of the coaches appreciated the message that we brought to them.
Daniel's a longtime athletic director over there at East Jessamine. I know he's a good friend of yours, and you guys, you've had a great, great run over there at East Jessamine. Just overall here in the county, it's been great soccer from youth all the way up. It's kind of a hotbed for some of the stars that have came out of here. But Coach, I understand. We talked about your winning your players through trust, loyalty, and respect. But I understand that there's another book in the works right now too.
There is, and before I leave that winning your players, I just wanted to add also that a German publisher has picked up the rights to that book as well. So it'll be translated in German. And so that's a big step for us with winning your players. But the new book is called Building a Successful High School Sports Program. And we talk about some of the challenges of building a program, starting from scratch, having a vision, having charisma, selling your program. A lot of things that a young coach probably would benefit from reading, from an aspect of, I'm going to stay here for a while, I'm going to commit to X number of years, and I'm going to build something special. So again, that's a labor of love for us.
Your Wiser Sports Leadership, is that something that you started after you kind of retired away from the high school stuff, or is that something that's always been been there for you that you just kind of picked up a little bit of the pace on?
I thought about it for a long time, and I'd been involved in writing a lot of articles for different organizations like the National Soccer Coaches Association, and so I started thinking, maybe we'll turn that into a book, and then all of a sudden it turned into, there's a lot of coaches that are hungry out there for information, not just drills and activities, and there's a lot of players out there. The team building aspect. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was in Winchester working with Tates Creek girls high school program over there, doing some leadership and team building, and I appreciate Coach Allie Tucker inviting me over there. It's a top-notch program at Tates Creek as well. So it just kind of snowballed into almost a way of life, a passion, if you will.
What is it that you ultimately want to accomplish with Wiser Sports Leadership?
I want to work with coaches so that they develop independent players that are allowed to make decisions on the field during the game, and that we don't have to orchestrate every movement. And then I want to work with players from a standpoint of providing them and building them as leaders and bringing them together as a team, trying to get away from that individual attitude sometimes that's prominent in some teams.
Is there one aspect of coaching that you would share with coaches that you feel is more important than any other? It's building that connection always. I see a lot of coaches get hung up on, and I'm guilty as the next person. If you ask a coach what they have in their library, I'm going to guarantee you they have 50 to 100 DVDs. They have web pages marked. They have tons of information in their files as far as activities and drills. Sometimes we leave behind what it takes to really reach a player and to build that trust, loyalty, and respect. So, I think that's the most important aspect in the whole scheme. Athletes, it's kind of a carousel of progress sometimes with them. Especially today's athletes, it seems like some of them are almost super power at times. But some of the things that we see out there that, hey, I've never been able to do that, or I've never seen that done before. What really separates, in your mind, Coach, athletes now compared to, say, 20 years ago?
Mainly the technology. We hear a lot about it every day, social media and the internet, but they don't need us for information anymore. Players can go online and draw in any drills, any activities, whatever they might need, but where they need us as adults and as coaches is the ability to interpret that information and to deal with it. We read a lot about players who become upset over remarks over social media where might be directed toward them. It just might be directed toward a view that they don't believe in, and sometimes they get themselves in a bad way when they respond over social media. So that's something that coaches need to be aware of.
Yeah. Let me ask you this too, Coach. How can coaches deal with the challenges of building a successful program? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but maybe give us a little bit more insight on how they can deal with that.
Just be yourself. Be confident in what you do. Walk the walk. Whatever you're asking your players to do, expect that and even more from yourself. And even more importantly, do the right thing. Make the tough decisions. If it means setting a star player out on a game night and it's against a district opponent or it's a tournament, set them out, because otherwise you're setting a precedent for other players or families to come to you and say, well, you did something special for this player. Make the right decision, because when it all shakes out, you have to have the ability to lay your head on that pillow at night and go to sleep and know you did the right thing. You may not like it, but always know that you did the right thing.
Soccer's growing big right now, bigger than it ever has here. Not only here in Kentucky, but nationally, worldwide. But it's always been big in South America and those places. But we got the U.S. Soccer League now. We got women's pro soccer. Big opportunities lie ahead for these athletes that didn't exist before. What do you feel about that, and where do you see soccer going?
Well, I think it's wonderful. I mean, when I first got into the business, we were all coattailing, the women's national team when they won the World Cup in Los Angeles, and big stars like Mia Hamm and Michelle Akers and that bunch. And now there's so many more role models for the young people to look up to through soccer. Even as close as Cincinnati, they're selling that venue out every game that they have. There's a lot of fans. People have really bought into soccer, and if you think about it, there's a lot of young people soccer brings their parents in as fans as well. So we're talking the impact on all the families. So as long as it can support itself from a financial standpoint, I see it growing and continuing. And it's going to rival some of the other sports as far as for the dollars that people spend.
Who really inspires you, Coach? I don't know if it's just in soccer or if it's other sports, but who inspires you? Well,
I mean, you have to really look at Jessamine County, because when I came here, I substitute taught for 4 years. I basically said, you're gonna find a spot for me because I'm not going away. But I substitute taught for 4 years. And during that time, I met two people right off the bat that impacted my life: Pat Nielsen and Frank Conyers. Pat Nielsen was one of the best that I've ever worked for. She could give you a hug when you needed a hug, or pat you on the back, but she could also kick you in the behind and tell you to get back to work. And I appreciated both sides of that coin. And I don't mind telling you, I'm sure she would do the same thing. I think the world of Pat Nielsen, a wonderful lady who's done a lot for so many young people in this community. And then Frank Conyers, the football coach, he had the uncanny ability to, if you went to him with a problem that you thought was just the worst problem in the world, he would kind of chuckle or laugh at you. And initially you would get a little upset, but then you would think, you know what? Frank is right. This problem is not that big a deal. And he had a great way of looking at problems like that, and he could impact you right away and put you at ease. So, those two people right off the bat had a big impact on me here in the county.
How big has the sport of soccer been to you, Coach? And, being able to talk with other sports outside of soccer and, kind of teaching them some of the same things, how big has that been for you?
Oh, it's been huge. I mean, soccer is basically my vehicle that has done so much for my life. I've met so many parents that are dedicated and work so hard behind the scenes, never get any credit. I've worked with some wonderful athletic directors. I've met a lot of colleagues across the state, wonderful coaches that do a great job every day. I've had players that, have changed my life forever. I don't mind telling you, everything they've done from time to time has always affected me in some way, and I really appreciate that. They've always played hard for me, always done what I ask, and I'll always be grateful. So soccer's been huge.
Coach, if people want to order your book, is it still available on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Just look up Winning Your Players. Go on Amazon. It's there. It's in the Kindle version or the hard copy version. Either one, it's there.
Digital download with the Kindle?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So again, if you want to get a copy of Coach DeAngelo Weiser's really cool book, a lot of coaches are ordering it now. I assume the sales have gone pretty good for you as well, Coach, here lately with school starting back.
They have, the season's beginning, and we knew going into it that an unknown author. There were going to be challenges ahead. I mean, the sales have been good as far as people that know me, colleagues, family, people in the area, other coaches, but we're still marketing it really well. So I look for that to continue to progress.
You got a new book coming out, like you mentioned. What other things are happening right now?
We're talking to organizations every day to try to get in that. We need the support of everyone out there. If anyone can help us in any way, just to talk to an organization. This isn't about anything more than a passion that I want to share with people. It's not a lifestyle or anything like that. So if anybody out there can help us in any way, just to talk, I'd love to be in front of someone.
Coach DeAngelo Weiser, it's always a pleasure talking with you, and I know we need to get that breakfast in one day so I can get my book signed, by the way.
Yeah. Don't rely on William here as far as getting an autograph, because he and I have had a time trying to get together. Of course, you're so busy, so it's tough, but we're going to get that done.
Yeah, eventually we'll definitely get that done. Hopefully, maybe in the next week or two, if you're not so busy as well.
Right.
With all the sports getting ready to start up at the high school level, we might want to do it in this little window we got, but definitely want to get that done.
We will.
Yeah. All right, Coach Weiser, is there anything else that you like to add tonight to let everybody know about?
Well, I want to kind of mention that, I was fortunate enough in my career to share an office or work with 3 state championship coaches.
Oh, wow.
I worked for Jay Buffin, helping him out with the basketball team, a passionate coach that his players would always do anything for him. I worked with Jody Hamilton in the gym office. I watched him. A thinking coach, a planning coach, a guy that knows his sport. You're not going to outcoach him. And then, of course, Kevin Wright, who won the state title last year. Nobody's more passionate about his team and the sport of soccer than Kevin. So, all those people had a big influence on me as well. I kind of sit back and I kind of read them and try to take the best of what they have to offer and use it in what we're doing with Weiser Sports Leadership. So, I appreciate those people and what they've done.
Let me ask you this before I let you go. With you paying attention to the high school still, obviously that's a great tool for Asbury as well to have you and your knowledge of the high school sports around here. But are you keeping up with the local teams, and do you see any favorite going into the new season?
It's always going to be a battle of it. Kevin did a wonderful job last year. He took the toughest road, and won that title. Nobody can ever question that. It's always going to be a battle through some of those schools that he had to go through. Boyle County, they were down at Western's camp. I look for them to be strong again. And of course, West, they're going to be as strong as ever. So we're keeping an eye on a lot of talent in the area from an Asbury standpoint, and checking those young people out. We want to make those young people aware of Asbury and what Asbury has to offer. So, if anyone's interested, they can contact me and we can set up a visit at any point in time.
Coach, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show, and again, can't wait to get that breakfast in with you and get my book signed finally. So, thanks for coming on.
We are going to get that done, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful for this opportunity, William. I appreciate it. You don't know how much I really appreciate being here and talking with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're grateful for you coming on to the show. It makes our show a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to step out for a minute. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back. We're going to have, see if we got Rob Zoeller, Simon Kenton head coach. We might have him on here. We'll get with him after this messages from our sponsor.
At White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, we believe that greatness is in the details. Each decision we make is for the benefit of our patients and our community. This means using industry-leading technology to help you achieve your goals and uncover your perfect smile. Our precision and efficiency results in an experience that is both pleasurable and affordable. White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, applying precision and elegance to your smile.
Sitters are here.
I'm ready. Okay, kids, behave.
Man to man.
I got the little guy.
Oh, did you leave cash for the pizza?
I got it.
With more features than ever,
All right, who's hungry?
mobile banking from Central Bank lets you deposit checks,
You're in timeout.
pay bills,
Okay, you're gonna get a rip screen.
send and receive funds with Pop Money, and more.
Hey.
So you can stay in the game without missing a step. Do more with mobile banking from Central Bank, official bank of UK Athletics.
All S, all P, all O, R T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
At Lexington Diagnostic Center, we love athletes.
We understand that when you are injured, the results of an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray can be the only thing keeping you off the field.
And that's what we're here for.
Same or next day appointments, front door parking, and our on-site radiologists make it easy for you to quickly get the results you and your doctor need. Call and compare prices.
We can save you hundreds of dollars.
We would love to help get you back in the game.
At the Lexington Diagnostic Center.
All S, all P, all O, R T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall and allsportslex.com, locally owned and operated since 1972.
Well, we do want to thank Mingy Beef Jerky, the official game day snack of PrepSpin. Mingy Beef Jerky, the official game day snack of PrepSpin, and Curtis Mackley and all his great people over there in Paris that hand make this stuff each and every day. You can get it at your convenience store, Thornton's, pretty much everywhere, convenient-wise, and then also at Kroger's throughout Kentucky and Ohio. So, again, Mingy Beef Jerky, check them out. Man, that stuff is delicious. And, again, that's why it's the official game day snack here at PrepSpin. Darren Douglas, we're going to have Coach Rob Zoeller. He's going to come on with us from Simon Kenton High School. And, man, they've been very successful ever since Coach took over and just doing some big things.
Well, I mean, just listen to Coach Weiser talk. It makes everybody understand how not only the sport of soccer, but especially girls soccer has grown in the United States. And that's not here in Kentucky, but in the United States. And you think about some of the high school teams in this area that have had some really solid programs and have built consistency as far as winning programs are concerned. And then you look at, here at West Jessamine, you look at Boyle County, you look at in Lexington at Lexington Catholic, you look at LCA, you look over there at Tate's Creek, and then just down the road down here you got Woodford County. So that's about 8 or 9 schools within 20, 25 miles of each other that have really got some programs that are consistently good in the state of Kentucky, and that just does nothing but help out the area colleges like Asbury, like Georgetown, like UK, like Northern, those types of programs. So once you get some high school programs even more established, you'll watch the college soccer scene in the state of Kentucky grow even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, just watching his team perform last year, and his daughter was probably one of the better players in the state. You could put her and Eva Mitchell from West Jessamine 1 and 2 there, or even 1 and 1. Both of them were just phenomenal. Of course, they both ended up being on this national team that was just announced earlier today. I'll get Coach to talk about that a little bit more. I'm not sure exactly the name of it, but it's supposedly this huge thing that's happened for them, and they've been honored with being on that team. So let's go ahead and bring Coach into the program. And Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing really good, Coach. So what do you got coming back this year?
We have a good bit of talent. We bring back 10 starters from last year, plus 2 starters that were out injured, kids that would have would have definitely started, but we got about one game out of them last year, and then they were on the shelf.
I know you're a proud pop. Your daughter going to go play for the University of Kentucky, and she's going to be playing alongside with Eva, who we mentioned earlier. But that's going to be. UK's got a heck of a recruiting class just in those two.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Abigail and Eva become good friends. I think they competed, that night in November, but they kind of befriended each other, going through the same experiences this past spring, and the rest of the recruiting class, the coaches at Kentucky have done a great job bringing in lots of talented kids.
Talk to us about last year's team and just the ride that you had with it. You guys did amazingly well in that Lexington Catholic Cup that they had up there, and here in Lexington Catholic High School, and which is always you have the state tournament and you have that. I think it's 1 and 2. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's the quality of that tournament. So ever since Terry started there at Lexington Catholic, if you were one of the better teams, that's where you wanted to be. Lexington Catholic does a great job with it.
Talk to me, again about last year's success and just start with the early part of the season to when you knew that you really had something special there.
I knew we had lots of pieces coming in. We had a pretty good run. My first year at Simon Kenton, lost to Sacred Heart in the Sweet 16. But we brought back, a majority of that roster. And then, last year had a couple good freshmen that came in. And then we were bringing back tons of kids. And, I knew we had the pieces. Abigail kind of helped us get over that hurdle because it was a young team. In that state semifinal game, we started 8 freshmen and sophomores. So we kind of found our rhythm right before the Catholic tournament up in Zionsville, and then it kind of kept rolling from there. And we got to Lexington Catholic's tournament. I had a little slow start against Cates Creek, found a way to score a goal late, and then just from there, that confidence built, and the girls kind of ran with it. And I was just trying to not mess it up.
You were 21-4-1 last year. Just amazing season that you had there. Unfortunately, like you said, it come to an end there in the state tournament against West Jessamine, who went on to win the state championship. But you guys, tough schedule, big wins. Early on in the season, it looks like your test against Tates Creek that didn't go good for you, although it was a close game at 2-1. But you guys, South Oldham, Assumption, Dixie Heights. It looks like I'm just reading down your list of victories here. Walton, Verona, Grant County,
Avon High School.
Avon, which is in that Zionsville tournament. That's a big thing up there too, right?
Right. That Avon team had like 3 seniors that all went Division I. Number of ECL kids. So that kind of got us going. We were still trying to figure out how we were going to play. We really didn't settle on something until right before the Catholic tournament, where we were playing kids. We just kept moving them around and kind of prepared the kids that that's the way it is. We bring back, basically every starter from last year, minus Abigail. But we picked up a couple kids that would have started, but they had an injury, and and their stuff was pretty minor. So, we're excited about where we are. We've had a good week and a half of preseason. In Zionsville this year, they've got us in the Group A, which is the top group with Carmel and Penn, who won the Indiana State Championship, and Notre Dame Toledo. So, Zionsville is going to really give us a little insight about where we stand regionally and nationally.
Is it tough losing some of the seniors that you lost off last year's team? Obviously, Abigail's a huge loss for you, but everybody else there, Coach, let's look up and down you.
We only had 2 seniors last year.
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, and one.
Courtney Morgan.
Courtney's going to play at Bluffton, Div 3 school up in Northern Ohio, and then of course Abigail's at Kentucky, and Courtney played a good role for us, but we bring back, you take out Abigail, we bring back 10 starters, and but the reality is probably of our top 13 returning, every one of them got better. Bottom jump levels in club, and what level they were playing at, and so we made a big jump there. And then of course the kids are healthy, and then we've gotten a couple talented freshmen. One of them played in the region championship game up in South Dakota with her club team as an integral starter for them. So we're excited about this group.
Haley Doherty, she had 18 goals last year. Morgan Stamper, 13. Looks like Maria, how do you say that last name, Coach?
Abinante.
Yeah, she had 12 goals for you. You got all of them returning.
we do, and probably two of our most talented players. One was a freshman last year, and we played her at center back. And she kind of, for that game at least, she kept Annie Lee and Eva in check. I mean, that was a great pair, and Kevin had a great team last year. But she was really an integral part of that back line. Well, she's going to be moved to an attacker this year, and we have another freshman coming in that's going to probably fit in that back line. And then the Kayla Coleman kid, she's on the futsal national team, and she plays for Ohio Lead ECNL. She didn't play. She played like one game last year. Picked up a foot injury at national camp in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to play through it in preseason, and then we shut her down after a game or two. So it was a bummer not having her, because she probably, I would say, she's somewhere between kind of a cross of Eva and Annie Lee as a player, real technical, but has some crazy creativity to her because of her futsal. So she's done a couple things in practice. She had a finish the other day that it kind of scratched my head, and I'm like, that's a difference maker. So
yeah, got to be exciting seeing that kind of thing from the sideline there.
It is, and she's a sophomore, so that's a huge bonus. And goalkeeping wise, we've got 3 great keepers in the program, but we bring back a junior who started since her freshman year. Skyland's been to a number of Div 1 camps, and she's already got the school record for shutouts. And I think she kind of had a little foot injury all year that we kind of didn't fitness her a whole lot and just try to keep her healthy. And she's 100%, so we're surprised not liking her preseason very much this year. But
how's the district up there? You're coming out of the 8th region, but District 32, how's that for you?
I mean, it's soccer is, we definitely we're the biggest school in our district. The other schools are Grant and Walton Verona are fairly small schools. So, we hope that, I think we've won district probably 8-9 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
We hope we can continue that trend. And the region, the region has South Oldham, who has 5-6 state titles to their credit, and Oldham County and North Oldham. So, and then there's, any other school, Collins or some other schools that pop up here or there. But, the Oldhams always, are very good. I remember Abigail's first year at Sacred Heart. Oldham County was in the Final Four, and we had to play them there. So Oldham's got some tradition. North Oldham has lots of talent. They were pretty young last year. And then South, Kenny Burke might be, I think he's one of the best coaches in Kentucky, boys or girls. So
yeah, you guys, you got a great opportunity once again this year to not only win your district but also the region. Looking up and down your schedule here, Coach, looks like you got South Oldham starting things off on August 14th.
Yes, yeah, we start off with South Oldham, and then play a local team, Cooper High School, and then we have Notre Dame and Assumption within that next week, and then we have Ryle is always a top 20 team, and then a district game, and then we're off to Zionsville. So the first 3 weeks of the year, we'll have a pretty good understanding of where we are, and we just want to try to get better. I mean, at that point, it's just learn and get better, and try to keep making adjustments to where we can find our niche. Because we talk to the kids about it a lot, that we want to play well, but we don't want to play our best soccer until we get in the late September and October, because it's hard to sustain it for 3 months being great. I mean, it's hard for any team. Doesn't matter at any level.
Yeah. So you guys are going to be back in. You said the Zionsville tournament. You're going to be back there. You're playing Notre Dame Academy out of Toledo. Then it looks like Penn out of Indiana, and then
somewhere in Indiana.
Somewhere in
they've
Indiana.
got
Mishawaka.
Mishawaka is
there. You go.
They're in Douglas.
They might have one of the top 3 forwards in the nation. Kid Krista Lynch, who's going to Florida State. She led them to a state title last year. I think they went undefeated, and she can play. So we're excited about those challenges. I mean, that's how you get better. I've always tried to play tough teams, and I think it benefits you because the real season doesn't start until you get to mid-October.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have you back on before the next tournament that we're going to talk about, which is the Lady Knights Challenge Cup. We plan on being there a lot of those games, if not all of those games, but it looks like Tays Creek, Sacred Heart, Assumption, Highlands, you all with Simon Kenton. Let's see who else is
Notre Dame and Assumption.
Notre Dame's always good too, aren't they? It just seems like
they
always.
are. I think Notre Dame has probably won the 9th region. 5 out of the last 6 years, or maybe all 6 of them. That's a first-rate program. So
Tays Creek's going to be really good. Let's talk about these teams that are in the Knights Challenge Cup, because obviously we got a big interest in that, and then covering your team and everybody else's team there. But you got Tays Creek, Coach Allie Tucker, and Tays Creek. I think Coach Langster is still hanging around there a little bit here and there, but
Bo's there a bit.
They're going to be good.
Coach Tucker, one her father was a fantastic coach. Side did wonders at South, and Allie was part of a state championship, I think, with him or 2. Allie's done a fantastic job. Bo left the program in great shape, and it's great that he's still around. And Tays Creek had a great year, and I think they were pretty young last year, so I would expect Tays Creek to be, right there in the mix as we go through the year. Catholic, the Tranter kid.
Yeah.
She's going to give you a chance to win a game every time they play. And then Assumption, they have a new coach this year. She's an alumni. And she actually brought on John Michael Hayden's wife, Holly, who she was a star at Assumption and U of L. And then Sacred Heart, Jacqueline's done a great job there with that program. And then Highlands, we actually played Highlands in the finals last year. And so we're blessed to play them in the first round this year, I guess. And Manuel's always had a good program. Underwood used to be the coach, and the new coach has done a nice job with them. And I'm drawing a blank on who the.
Yeah, the Knights Cup last year, I can't remember off the top of my head. Was that you all, or was that Highlands that ended up walking away with that championship?
We did.
I'm just messing with you, Coach. Just messing.
Yeah.
No, we know, and like I said, we're proud to have you guys. Some of your games, here on PrepSpin, because you are such a great team, and it's always an honor to cover you all. Especially you, Coach. I like your style from the sideline. You got tricks up your sleeve a lot.
Well, I don't know. We try. At the end of the day, I try to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm coaching on the boys' side some. You're forced to, especially when you're playing against the St. X's and Trinities of the world. You have to think outside the box, and like the switching of the goalkeepers. We did that when I was at Ballard against Oldham County. And we had that year. The only reason we did it, we had two senior goalkeepers, and one was a great field player, and the other one, a great goalkeeper, and he kind of earned the position. But the other kid was maybe one of the best kids I've ever coached, Connor Murphy. He played 4 years at Bellarmine. He was on the roster there, and we just felt like it was an opportunity to get Connor some clock, because he was just as much a part of the victories as Cody, who was in there full time. And so I like that, and I think it'll be something we continue to do, even though it won't be Abigail and Skyland in the goal. We may throw somebody else in, alternating with Skyland, and think it's makes the shooters think a little bit. So
Yeah.
you never know. We might try something crazy.
Yeah, so we talked about the tournaments that you're playing in between the Zionsville and the Lexington Catholic tournament. But your schedule, looking up and down your schedule, it's pretty tough too. You play Lexington Catholic later on in the season. You play DuPont Manual. You schedule North Oldham, of course, and then Bishop Brossard. They've been decent, I guess, here and there. What's your opinion?
They have. Brossard's not bad. Brian Goller, I think he took over. He came over from the boys' side, so I think he's going to bring stability there. And I think they've had a pretty healthy preseason. I heard they had nearly 50 kids out, and for a single A school, that's huge numbers.
Yeah.
So Brossard's not bad. Mount Notre Dame out of Cincinnati. I mean, they were the #1 team in the city last year for a bit. And for you soccer aficionados, Roosevelt's from there. He's a Mount Notre Dame alum. And they bring back a number of very good players. So, we just tried to play we're scrimmaging Oak Hills and St. Henry. St. Henry is a couple state championships to their program's credit. So we're just trying to make ourselves better, and that's the only way. One of the ways I know how is you got to play good teams.
Yeah, so. I'm going to throw it over to Darren Douglas. He's got a couple of questions for you, Coach. He's over here trying to get my attention. So
Actually, I'm just sitting here enjoying the conversation. To be honest with you, Coach, I haven't kept up very much with girls soccer in the last few years. That's my fault for not doing that. But girls soccer throughout the state. I mean, you mentioned South Oldham with 5 and 6 state championships. It used to be dominated by the private schools within Northern Kentucky and the Louisville area. But since then, you've had teams like yourself, like West Jessamine, like Boyle County, like Woodford County, that have all started, in South Oldham, that have started to show that the public schools can do just as much damage in the postseason. What do you credit that to?
For more kids that play club soccer. And then I think, some of those other programs have invested resources in their girls soccer programs. And they found consistency with coaches, where they don't have a coach 1 or 2 years and they leave. If you look at those places, Brian over at Boyle's been there many, many years. I remember when I was at E-Town a long time ago at the beginning of 2000, Brian was there. Kevin's been at West Jessamine forever. First Cy Tucker was at South Oldham for maybe 20 years. And I think a lot of it comes down to having consistency with coaching staff, and then, just building a great foundation. And then a lot of those traditions carry on. Kids want to play in a place where, they're going to get good training and they're going to compete at a high level. So I think, parents are much more informed nowadays about what's a great situation for their child. And I think everybody here can say, you should always advocate for your kid and try to put them in the best situation you can.
Coach, we got some comments coming in here on the chat. A lot of your fans tuning in tonight to watch you on the show. So, but a lot of them are curious. What's the ultimate goal for the season? What would satisfy you? We know the state championship is obviously the ultimate goal, I would think, for any coach going into the new season, especially with a team like you have coming back.
I think that's the goal. I mean, it doesn't change, And for me personally, I love seeing the kids have that success and kind of punch and do some glass ceilings. And so we hope we, can take another step forward. We talked about it the other day at training. We just want to be one of the 2 left playing, not one of the 4 left playing. Yeah. So, we hope we get an opportunity to play in that game. And we talked about it, winning our district, but also getting out of the region. It's going to be a huge step for us because I think, Oldham County might have the best kid in the district or best kid in the region. With South has Heaven O'Connell there, or the Olivia Stanley kid at Oldham County. You'll hear those 2 kids' names. Or the goalkeeper over at North Oldham. Those 3 kids, you'll hear about them all year. Those are 3 of the best kids in the city of Louisville.
Yeah. Do you get any big scrimmages to start the season off with?
Oak Hills from Cincinnati on August 5th. So,
okay.
Oak Hills is one of the top 2 or 3 programs in the GMC, and they were in top like 2 or 3 in the city last year. Of course, the postseason in Ohio is pretty brutal, getting out of the city, and I think they had to slip up. But Kevin Sproul over there, he does a fantastic job, and so we're gonna give it a go against them. I think they'll have had like 20 scrimmages, because in Ohio you can scrimmage all through July. They just play like 40-minute games against teams, and they don't start tryouts till August 1, so he'll try out right before us, but he'll have to try lots of things. So for us, it'll be a really good challenge, and I think for his team, we're both just looking to try to grow from it. I don't think we see any of us going for the jugular in the game, but I think we will just try to learn a little bit more about our group.
Yeah. Well, Coach, anything else that you want to add tonight to let everybody know about, or anything exciting coming up other than the season, of course?
No, I mean, I think the Catholic tournament's going to be something that people want to tune in. Watch whether they can make it out to the games or they watch online through PrepSpin. I know we had a number of fans that took advantage of that last year, and I think it's great for the game. I think the kids like it, families like it. If you got grandparents or something out of town, they love being able to watch their grandkids play. So I think it's great for the sport to not just see football games, broadcast online, or basketball games, but that the male and female soccer players at Kentucky get an opportunity to have that venue.
Yeah, we certainly have, especially here in the Central Kentucky area where we do most of our coverage. In my opinion, I think it's helped countless number of student athletes, not only with the exposure part, but just the promotion of them and promotion of the schools. I know you've asked us several times to come up there and do a game at Simon Kenton. We got to get up there, Darren. What do you think?
Well, there's several people that have asked us to do various sports, and we've got a busy schedule. But we'll have to figure it out, seriously, because, when you got soccer like Simon Kenton that's doing big things up there in northern Kentucky, and then, of course, we've been asked to go up to the mountains several times to go to Belfry to a football game, and people, every time I talked about that, they say it's an experience that you have to experience to get up there, to even walk into the stadium. And I've been to Simon Kenton several times for wrestling and for football, so I need to get up there for another sport.
Belfry's the real deal in football.
Yeah, they are. They're amazing.
They're the real deal. Hey, you ought to follow. I know you do a bunch of stuff with Lexington Catholic. You ought to follow them and come on up for that game in September.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I tell you what, Coach, you don't have to sell us on coming up there. We're pumped and excited that that we have the opportunity and that you're wanting us up there. We just got to find it in our schedule to get up there. But I tell you what, we definitely will have you at Lexington Catholic.
Perfect. We'll see you guys then, and we're excited about the year. And thanks for having us on today.
Yeah, you guys, good luck with the season, and tell everybody we said hi, Coach.
I will. Thank you too. Take care, guys.
Appreciate you. Darren?
Yo.
Coach Rob Zoeller, always good talking with him. We do a lot of chat back and forth, through messages, but to finally have a face-to-face with him on the show, that's pretty cool that we're able to do that. Just bring in a coach wherever they're at on the webcam. You're
getting to experience what I've done for a lot of the time I've been a broadcaster. It's just so much with technology makes it a whole lot easier to get in touch with people and things now. So, our next guest, we've actually gotten to meet people like that before too. But William, I want to tell you this: Simon Kenton it's actually a beautiful school. You can't say that about too many older buildings as far as school buildings are concerned. But Simon Kenton's a beautiful school. It's got a beautiful layout right there, and I've never been treated better at too many other schools than my trips up there with our next guest for a football game than I had at Simon Kenton.
We got the Woodford County voice going to be joining us here shortly. We're going to step out. Mack, stay there. I appreciate you for being patient with us.
He's dealt with me for a long time. He's got the word patience down.
He knows you're not
he's
on
got
time.
It down. That's right.
Darren, you're going to be late to your own funeral, I think. But,
well, I hope so. Please. Please.
All right, we're going to have Mack Calvert, the legendary voice of Woodford County football and basketball and everything else Woodford County.
Yeah, he is, and if you've been able to over the years to tune in to a local radio station in the area, you've heard the voice of Mack Calvert, and he's actually not just a very good voice for calling sports and doing things to promote the kids and things like that. He decided he was going to make a career change about 17, 18 years ago, and went out of sports editing for the local paper over there in Versailles, the Woodford Sun. He decided he was going to go back and teach. So he teaches 6th grade social studies now at the middle school over there. So he's been a real close friend of mine for a long time, and I'm just so glad that we've actually got him on here tonight and talked to him and stuff. But we'll have him on here in just a minute.
All right, Mack Calvert going to be joining us here in just a few as we'll be right back, folks. We're going to step out. We're going to take a commercial break. Back here more with Talking Sports with Darren Douglas and William Warfield on PrepSpin.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthopedics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
Take a little walk with me. I'll keep you in good company and be there for you to the end. You'll never be alone, my friend.
Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of our 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
At White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, we believe that greatness is in the details. Each decision we make is for the benefit of our patients and our community. This means using industry-leading technology to help you achieve your goals and uncover your perfect smile. Our precision and efficiency results in an experience that is both pleasurable and affordable. White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, applying precision and elegance to your smile.
Well, welcome back here to Talking Sports here live on PrepSpin.com. William Warfield here, and Darren Douglas and Mack Calvert's been long time partners over there at Woodford County in their broadcasting, and it's truly an honor to welcome Mack Calvert digitally. Let me get this. There we go. We're on the fly here, by the way.
It's kind of tough to get our melons on because William and I both have such large craniums, I guess we should say.
Well, you better scoot yours over so you can get on the video here with Mack, because we're about ready to bring in legendary voice of the Yellow Jackets, Mr. Mack Calvert. Also, he's coached basketball there for a while.
He's coached basketball, and I talked him into 1 year being an assistant coach on the middle school football team with Joe Carr Sr. and my brother Ryan. And Mack's job was to follow me around as the offensive coordinator and write down the plays I was calling and formations and stuff. And I bet, Mack, we walked 100 miles in one game, and you said, I wish you'd slow down. Am I right?
There's Mack right here. Mack, welcome in.
How you doing, Mack?
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks, William, for having me on tonight, you and Darren, and I do appreciate the opportunity to talk about some things related to Woodford County sports that we've done over the years.
Yeah, well, before I get into asking Mack some questions, Sharon, Mack has been the voice of the Yellow Jackets. He will begin in here about 3 weeks his 36th year as the voice of Woodford County sports, and it started with football and basketball predominantly on radio, WJMM over there in Versailles, and about 11 years ago we transitioned into the internet phase of things with Central Kentucky Sports with William, and now it's transferred over into PrepSpin. And Mack, it's hard to believe you've been there 36 years, but I'm gonna date him a little bit. He is actually the first radio guy that I came in contact with as a junior. His first year in Woodford County was my junior year of 81, 82. But Mack, longevity, but you get better with age.
Well, I don't know about that, but I really have enjoyed all 36 years that I've been doing this. Of course, as you get older, the equipment, packing the equipment around and walking the stairs up to some of these stadiums, i.e. Dunbar, are really difficult. More difficult than usual, but I plan on doing it at least a few more years anyway, and we've had some great experiences through that time, met a lot of great people, seen a lot of great athletes, as you probably want to talk about tonight.
Oh, we'll talk about them, a lot of them, and most of them have been football and basketball players. We have been fortunate as a team. Now, I will start my 33rd year with Mack, and it kind of happened funny, a really strange way that he and I came in contact with each other. I read in the local paper that they were looking for a statistician for football games to sit in the booth next to him, and our good friend and late Jim Gay, who was the color man for only 2 play-by-play guys, Roddy Williams for 10 years, and then Mack Calvert has been on the call since then. And Jim was on the call for most of those games over those years too. Unfortunately, lost a battle to cancer, but I went in and we wound up. Mack said, "I got something for you to do." So for the first 2 years of me being in this radio business, I sat in they called it a production room out there at the station, but it was more the size of a phone booth with all this equipment in there. And in my junior and senior years, I spent listening to Mack and Jim call the games, and I would put the highlight video or the highlight audio back together for touchdown scores and big plays during the game, and then Mack would recap the game.
That wasn't going to last very long.
Huh?
I knew that wasn't going to last very long.
That wasn't going to last.
I wanted to be where the action is.
I did.
So that was only on borrowed time.
Yeah, I was a social butterfly. You know that. But then on top of that, then we decided after 2 years we were going to try something that no other high school team that we knew of doing that. We were going to go with a sideline reporter. Now, the old Woodford County Stadium, the old Memorial Stadium up there at the old high school, which used to be Versailles High, and then transferred to the middle school before they built the new one currently over there in Versailles. But we decided we had to run, I don't know how many feet of mic cord back to get out of the press box to get to the sidelines, and then we had to dodge puddles and cheerleaders and little kids playing underneath the stands and things like that. But how did we ever come up with that harebrained idea?
We were young, we were silly, and we were willing to do anything to make a broadcast better. That's all I can say. We wanted to be one of the big boys right away.
Yeah, and we even went so far as, and I'm really dating myself now, we went out so far as to get a Mr. Microphone. If anybody from those days of remember the Mr. Microphone, we went out and bought one of those. It didn't work, but now we've gone high tech with a little bit better system and things like that. But then I graduated up to the booth when unfortunately Jim got sick, and I want to tell Mack wasn't aware of this. William, you'll get a kick out of this, and I hope our viewers will too. Jim and I used to argue, with me being the sideline reporter and Jim being, and we used to pick a rule or something out and argue over it. Well, it was not planned when we first started, but after about 5 years, Jim and I would get together and plan an argument during the course of a game, and Mack was clueless the whole time until I shared it with him, about 5 years ago. And you said, y'all made that up?
Yeah, well, I don't really remember too much about that, actually.
Well, we were sneaky. Jim and I were sneaky. But of your 36 years, and I know we've seen a lot of football teams together, and matter of fact, you covered me my first 2 years of my junior, senior years of basketball at Woodford County. But what sticks out for you in your 36 years of being the voice of the Yellow Jackets?
Probably the greatest experience came 5 years ago, when we were doing on the internet. We were doing on PrepSpin, I guess. We were doing the Woodford County baseball team. And we had only, was that our first year doing baseball? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. I think it was.
Yeah. And how lucky we were to have Jeff Parrott as the head coach, and his son, and Clinton Holland, two of the best pitchers in all of the state, and to watch them with all of their success and then go to the team's first state tournament, win the region for the first time, and then go to the state tournament and act like a team that had been there before.
Yeah.
They did not make mistakes. They only made 2 errors the whole tournament. And then they shut out Henderson County in the championship game. And it was such a ride that I guess that has to stick out the most because of the state championship that was.
And what was sad about that, or the irony of that whole story, Mack, really was we had covered them throughout the year at home and on the road, and went to the district down in Frankfort at Franklin County, and then the region was over at Tate's Creek, and that was interesting because Bryan Station and Woodford County met in the finals of that tournament. Neither team had gone to the state tournament, so whoever won would be their first ever appearance. But I had signed to do color on television with Dick Gabriel for the state championship game, so I was not on the call with you of that state championship game. I was on television with Dick Gabriel, but I snuck into the booth after the game was over because we, with television time, you have to cut it quicker than you do radio or internet broadcasting. So I snuck in behind you, and I probably scared you to death because I kind of snuck in and threw my arm around you, and I think we were more excited than the kids were.
At least as.
Yeah.
And then we had the honor of later on that year, the team presented us with championship rings. And that was truly an honor for them to think of us and honor us with those rings. So
yeah. Well, and then the other thing is too. Go ahead, Mack. Go ahead.
We wanted more. Okay, football. Let's say football now. The best experience was probably the 1983 team. I came in 82. The team had been to the playoffs in 81 and lost down at E-Town.
And we're undefeated.
Had an 8 record. Yeah. And they lost a lot of players. A lot of players. So in the 82 season, they were starting brand new quarterback, brand new everybody. And we could just see the season just completely falling apart. And I think we lost several games early. We were 0-4 or 1-4, something like that. And then we beat Western Hills. The schedule wasn't really terribly difficult after those first 4 or 5 games, and we managed to have a winning season out of that. We were 6-5. And we played Nicholas County and some of our district opponents, but that was a successful season because they just had to replace everybody. And then, of course, we understood that the new guys that had stepped in were pretty good athletes and pretty good football players. You had Matthew Wallace coming in as second-year quarterback, one of the best throwing quarterbacks we've ever had. I think went to EKU. And then we had George Brown, one of the top running backs we've ever had before. And we just had a lot of guys and a lot of athletes on that team. And they carried us. We started the season not very good. I think we lost to Henry Clay early, and we thought we could beat them with that bunch. But then we got on a roll, won the district, beat Marion County in the playoffs, and then went down to Franklin Simpson. And it was a really tough ball game, and I think we were down at the 1 yard line, and let's see, Matthew Wallace, I think, got hurt.
Hurt his shoulder.
Not sure about that. Yeah, hurt his shoulder, and we couldn't get it in. And then we have a muff punt there that Franklin Simpson came up with, and we lost by only a point, 20-9. So we almost got into the state finals that year. That was the state semifinal.
Yeah, had a touchdown call back out of that too.
Right.
So that.
So I remember that as being one of the best. Basketball, of course, we've had a couple of teams that have gotten to the state tournament during that time. I think the girls have been 3 times. The boys have been once. The boys, of course, when you talk about the Lexington schools, Scott County wasn't in the district, the region in those years. But we had a team that probably didn't have a lot of stars on it. Jeff Moffitt made the All-Star team at the end of the season and played for Coach Kirk over in Louisville with the All-Star team. But we had some kids that just had a lot of heart. Not the biggest team in the world. Didn't score very well. And we lost big at Tate's Creek during that season. Big at Tate's Creek, like 24 points. And at that point, we just have to say, well, how could they ever do well in the region? But Tate's Creek didn't make the region. Sometimes it's all in who you face. But we did beat Henry Clay, and Sean Sutton played on it. Coach Sutton. And then we got to the finals, and what a surprise. Woodford County versus Jessamine County in the finals. No Lexington.
Right.
And we just let there be no doubt in the finals. We won that handily, played an excellent ball game, and it was the only time that Woodford County's ever made the state tournament.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing for that 86 team for Woodford County, they wound up playing the number 1 team in the state in the first round, and that was Pleasure Ridge Park, who also went on to win the state title that year. So, again, somebody asked me, said, how in the world do you and Mack remember all this stuff? Well, I've got some stuff, and I have some stuff stuck in the head, and I have some.
You've got a much better memory than I do. I tell you that.
Yeah, but you got a book that rivals War and Peace.
Yeah. I mean, you are an encyclopedia of knowledge. I'll tell you that, and a good oral history teller. Let's say.
Well, I have to credit my mother for that. She was really aficionado of history and our area, not just Woodford County, but our surrounding area as well. And as kids, she made us learn everything we could about not only our hometown and our county, but our surrounding counties as well. So I have my mom, my late mother, to thank for that. But, somebody asked me, said, how do you all deal with each other on a nightly basis on a Friday night when you early part of the football season, when it's 90 degrees outside, the humidity's off the charts, you're in a press box at a high school level that's not air conditioned, and you may have to drive an hour for your first football game to broadcast. What do you talk about on road trips? And we don't talk sports, really, we talk life.
But we also try to get ready for the game and kind of bounce things back and forth that we're going to talk about.
But we've had a lot
it gives us time.
Yeah. We've had a lot of stuff happen over the course of our 33 years together, Mack. Everybody knows, in our area about your battle with cancer, which you have which right now you're on top of. You're beating it up pretty good, and we want to report to our viewers out there that your last scan was completely clean, which you and I share that on a daily basis. We talk about it as brothers more than we do friends, and then. You were there when upon the passing of my mother and my father both, and I can't. When I talk about you, I can't tell everybody how much you meant to my family and especially me during those situations. I mean, it's just you're more than just a broadcast partner. You're actually a friend, and probably more family than you are a friend.
Well, I do appreciate it, Darren, and you have been a great friend over the years, and I remember the first time that Ed Wright brought you into the radio station and introduced you to me, and you just wanted to do a few things for the radio, and after that, we just became real close friends. I think we have a lot in common. We really do. We care for the community. We care for the success of the school and the school's athletic programs. We're willing to do, all those times that we went down there with spray paint and marked the high school field. We did that for a number of years.
Sometimes at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. After the soccer team had finished, here we come. And now they've got AstroTurf, or now they don't call it AstroTurf. They call it PolyTurf or Field Turf. But, we've gone kind of crazy at times with some of the things that we've done. Like you mentioned with the microphone over at Old Memorial Field, we tried 200-foot antennas for microphones that didn't work out so well from Radio Shack. I don't want to say the Radio Shack doesn't make a quality product. We tried to stretch the limits of the Radio Shack. 200. But we've done such crazy things. It does say something that we were just trying to make things a little better.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier in the broadcast, that we were young and dumb. We thought we could push the limits on some things with broadcasting when it came to high school sports, and we broadcast from some real interesting positions, locations as far as football games. One of my favorite was probably going up to Estill County back in the day when Estill County was in our district when we were 3A, and calling a game while bending over, looking through a short window in a caboose. And we had a terrible angle.
And you told me the other day that they used the caboose for something else down. They've actually built a press box up there.
Yeah.
But that had to be the most unique position we've ever broadcast from.
And then
besides the stands.
Yeah, and then we made a trip up to Ashland. They want to put us up in some rickety deer type stand on a fence that was about ready to fall down at any point in time. And Mack and I are neither one small guys. If we'd gotten up there solo, it would have been trouble holding us up. But both of us gotten up there, I guarantee would have come tumbling down. But we wound up doing that from the patio walk behind the stands of the visitor sidelines.
Well, my worst night of broadcasting is an Ashland game in which you were at a buddy's being in his wedding.
Oh.
And that was the worst trip I've ever taken.
Yeah.
It rained all the way up to Ashland. I had to take the equipment myself.
You drove yourself too.
Then we had a phone booth, pretty much for a place to sit and do the game, and it continued to rain the whole game and all the way home.
Yeah.
And we ended up losing on a field goal that was called no good, but the uprights were only about a foot high.
Yeah.
You couldn't really tell. And I thought the kick was good, would have given us the victory, and the official said no. So all that rain back and forth and the loss, that had to be one of the most difficult trips that I've ever taken.
And then you had one of the worst spotters you could ever have, because he couldn't see 50 feet in front of him. My dad.
Your dad. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
And that's odd because he didn't usually come to ball games.
No, he never came. Well, my brother Ryan was a senior that year on that team, so
right.
That's the only reason why he made it. He said Mom drug him that 100 and some odd miles up to Ashton for that game. But speaking of those years, I had somebody ask me the other day who was the best high school football player I'd ever seen play of all the years I've done Woodford County games. Who was the best opposing player? And I think you and I agree on this one. I mean, that name came out of our mouths, without any thought at all.
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yeah, you go ahead and say it. I'll let you say it.
Oh, Tim Couch.
Tim Couch, yeah.
And, that was a real coup in scheduling for Buck Stewart when he was here. He knew that Leslie County had an outstanding quarterback, and he gave us a home and home with Leslie County as junior and senior year. And that attracted a lot of attention, especially when when the game came up here, it attracted a lot of attention. Now, they beat us pretty good down there, but then he lost a lot of his receiving core as a senior, and it was a little more difficult. They still beat us, but we played a much better game the second time than we did the first. And, of course, you remember the phantom receiver that came on the field.
Yeah, he was 6'5".
11
Yeah,
man off the field, and then gotten so wide, and nobody paid any attention to him. Stepped on the field, at least from my viewpoint, he stepped onto the field, and then when Couch had it, he threw to he was wide open. Nobody knew he was even eligible to catch a pass.
Yeah.
And so that was one of their important plays of the game that ended up being.
Now he's the best player we've seen, but we've gotten to see the likes of Donnell Gordon when he played at South Oldham. We got to see Jeremy Simpson from Lincoln County. We got to see the Alcorn brothers over there at Danville. We got to see Roney and Dale Robinson down there at Franklin County. We got to see Carlton Carter. We got to see several running backs over there at Anderson County. So it's not like we haven't seen good players, but Couch might have been the best one. As a matter of fact, that game he's talking about your junior year going up there to Hyden up to Leslie County, we thought there was a rock star that was coming into the stadium because the fans were going nuts because the rest of the team was on the field. We hadn't seen this big, tall quarterback that they've been talking about the whole week for us going up there. All of a sudden, this music starts blaring over the PA. The fans are starting to go crazy. All these little kids are running over towards this corner of the end zone, and voila, there's Tim Couch. That's who that reception was for. And it was much bigger than even the Leslie County team, but he was something special.
While you guys were covering Tim Couch, I just want to throw this out there. I was bagging groceries at Kroger's that year.
You were probably, what, 12,
I remember,
13?
Listen, I remember the day that he said, that he committed to UK because people were coming through the line and they were talking about it. It was the talk everywhere. It was the talk everywhere.
Well, I tell you what, that was the biggest thing that had gone on in Versailles sports-wise up until that point in time, probably outside of the Woodford County wrestling program. When he came to town, I bet there was 10,000 people out there at Community Stadium, and anybody that's been there knows that it seats about 4,000 or 5,000, and then they were lined up on the hillside on the closed end of the field. They brought lawn chairs, they brought blankets, there were people standing. They had to get some portable bleachers to bring them in and put them on the open end of the football field, and a who's who of college coaches were there. I bet there were a minimum of 40 to 45 Division I college head coaches that were in the stadium that night. It was something else. And I had the view from the field. You had the view from up top, Mack. How did it look from up there?
Well, I'm going to go back to earlier that year. They played, I believe, in the Thoroughbred Classic or something over there.
Yeah, they played Highlands.
They played Highlands over there. And that was the first time I guess I'd ever seen him up close. And I just could not believe, his upper body strength allowed him to throw the ball long downfield. And he could just drop a ball in somebody's lap just with ease. I mean, that's major college talent, being able to throw that far and just drop it right in there. So I had never seen that on the football field before from any quarterback. I agree. He's the best football player I've ever seen. And, I hate the way that he is being portrayed in the National Football League because I think some of the specials that run, I go into YouTube and look at some of the football specials that they have in there, and they go worst draft picks, worst number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
They always have Tim Couch among the worst picks. And I disagree with that totally. Now, he should not be one of the worst picks because he ended up with by far the worst team for a first-year quarterback to play for, and that was the Browns.
And I'm glad I'm sitting down because Mack's talking about the Cleveland Browns, and he is a Cleveland Browns fan. And I'll go one step further, a fanatic. He's a Cleveland. That's the only thing that he and I don't agree on. He's a Cleveland Indians and Cleveland Browns fan. I'm a Reds and Bengals fan. So when those two programs or teams are playing, we don't talk very much those things.
I'm a Cubs and Cowboys fan.
I know, but Mack, I tell everybody, that I really consider you to be one of the elite, and William used the term legendary, and you'd be the first one to say you're not legendary, but when it comes to voices in high school sports, covering sports,
only legendary because I've been here a long time.
Yeah, but you're legendary because you not only dealt with me for all these years, but you also not only dealt with, but you went to college with our partner and buddy Gary Ball. And that if you got us two on your shoulders and crosses to bear, that's a couple of dead weights to carry, and you've done a pretty good job all those years.
Yeah, I had heard in the dorm that they were I went to UK. Went to the dorm, and somebody came in and said, did you see the Kentucky Colonel? And did you see the ad section in it? And they were calling for tryouts for WBKY, which was the campus radio station back then. And I said, hey, I'd really like to do that. You know, I've always thought it was fun. You take a tape recorder and go to some of the high school and even some of the games in the recreation department.
The junior pro.
Games that your dad coached.
Yeah, you did.
And we'd have a hoot doing that. But I went out for it. There were about 5 of us that went out for it, and Gary and I were able to hook up. And yeah, we did at least 2 years in college. I think maybe half of the sophomore season, and when I was a junior and senior. Yeah. And that helped with the books. And the tuition too.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, you just kind of fall into this business. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a business that's been very rewarding for me. I know I've met a lot of great people, and I met you, and you know, I've got to meet Gary and met some other people as well, and I enjoyed working with both you guys because all our styles are similar, so it makes it easy to work and slide right in with each other. But I put Mack a couple of years ago, William, in a very tough bind. I was my partner that I would do Georgetown College games with couldn't make it in because of the weather, and he comes from Northern Kentucky. Well, we had a doubleheader basketball game, and it was two big games. It was actually going to be two big games. It was Lindsey Wilson versus Georgetown at Georgetown, and the men and women are pretty good rivals in the back over in the Mid-South Conference. And I needed a partner, and my partner was not coming in, so the SID, who just so happens to be also Jenny Elder, who Mack and I both have covered as high school player over in Versailles in her day. I said, Jenny, I got somebody in mind. Let me call Mack. So I wound up sliding over and have to do play-by-play, and Mack doing color. Now, when we've been partners, it's never worked that way. I've always been the color guy, and Mack has been the play-by-play guy. So it's been one of those situations where Mack, it took us about half of the women's game to hit our stride in that genre, because I'm sitting here trying to be the play-by-play guy, and I've always been the analyst, and it was totally foreign to both of us.
I don't think I hit my stride as a color man. I don't think I ever hit my stride.
But it was a lot of.
Since I had done a little coaching in the middle school, and you know, I learned a lot from Jay Lucas, who just retired, by the way, as the Woodford County girls coach. Learned a whole lot from him. Learned a whole lot about plays and strategy and lots of different things that, you know, helps me become a better broadcaster.
Yeah.
You know, I've experienced some of the things that coaches think and coaches go through, and what they would do in situations.
You know, we've had the privilege of having such a wonderful wrestling program at the high school over there in Versailles at Woodford County, and somebody asked me, said, man, how in the world do you deal with Joe Carr Sr.? I said, simple. You let him do what he wants, because he's a very knowledgeable guy, a very deep guy. A lot of people don't realize just how deep that man is. He is, when it comes to his religion, he's a very devout Christian. He's a very steeped gentleman when it comes to wrestling. He's a very well-respected man, not only here in the state of Kentucky, but internationally. I mean, his name is out there internationally, and he is probably one of the more colorful coaches in any sport we've ever covered.
Now, I was going to Woodford County High School. Should I say the year? guess it was 1974, and Jimmy Carr, his younger brother, was actually in the hallways then going to Woodford County High School. I don't know how long he was there or anything, but he was down here, and the Carr family came down here. And Fletcher, of course, was the UK wrestling coach, and Joe Carr. And we're just so fortunate to have had him for as long as we've had him, because he is far beyond anyone else in knowledge of wrestling, and especially motivating kids to do their best. And being, I think even more importantly, being a good example for them in life.
Yeah.
And to have him that long and influence so many young people in his sport and with his personality and his attitude toward life.
Yeah.
And what's really important, I just think it's been, Woodford County has been so fortunate to have him. And you know, when you mention things, we're talking about what's been my greatest experience. I talked about football, and I talked about basketball, and I talked about the baseball team winning the state tournament. But I think we take for granted that the best program through the years has been our wrestling team. State championships. Now I quit covering for the newspaper. I wrote a lot for the newspaper and took pictures and did what I could for the wrestling team. But they actually won some state championships after I left the Woodford Sun. But they have been the model of consistency all through the years. They always have people who are in the finals, in the semifinals. Their team points are always up there, usually in the top 3. And so that has to be one of my great experiences too, is to watch all these young men who they have trained, they have coached, do so well and win in the state tournament, and really have something to talk about later in life. I was a state champion wrestler. I wrestled for Coach Carr at Woodford County. They have something really to talk about.
Yeah. Well, been fortunate to have a lot to talk about over the years. Football. Like I said, we covered football and basketball, predominantly boys basketball, forever on the radio side of things. Then we went to the internet. We went to we got more girls as the radio station opened up to more girls games as well. And that was my first ever experience, was a district game, district tournament game, which you allowed me to sit in the broadcast position and do a simultation broadcast, but I was actually just practicing. I guess I was a senior in high school that year, and it went 3 overtimes, and lo and behold, I had no clue for all 3 overtimes. We were live on the air. And that was my first ever broadcast. I had Jim slide in next to me as he got there for the boys game, and it just, I really appreciate everything that you have done. I try to tell everybody what you have meant to me in my career as a broadcaster, and I don't think I could do it justice. You gave me my shot, and sometimes, we both came up with harebrained ideas together and said, yeah, let's try this, and then other ones we tried that didn't work, or I'd come up with one, and one that I came up with that actually was pretty successful, and I still have people ask me why we don't do it anymore, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
All right, we were on, I think I could put the years together now. We were on WJMM from when Roddy was doing it. And 73, I think, wasn't it?
How
I got into it right away was I was a statistician for Roddy and Jim when my brothers were playing. My brothers played on real good teams. Tony played 1 year his senior year, and they went 9-3, and didn't make the playoffs, but played in something called the CKC Bowl that year. That was kind of a postseason reward for what they had done.
Right.
But then the next season, Jeff, who was playing his junior year, I think it was, playing on the line, they got all the way to the finals against Russell. And one of my great experiences too. But I was I just felt like, gee, this is such a great thing to do at the end of the week on a Friday night, to be able to go out here and, enjoy high school football and pulling for the home team. And, I think it was because they were so successful and everybody was excited about what they were doing that I just kind of caught the fever.
Yeah. Well, in the old days back at Old Memorial Field too, right there on Lexington Road, when you came in or headed toward downtown Versailles, it was always the happening night on Friday night, because it was right there on the main drag heading into downtown. There was no sidewalks on Lexington Road at that time, so cars were pulled on both sides of the road to park. They were parked over behind.
If you got there early, go over to the bus garage and park there and have a free view of the game.
Yeah, sit on your hood of your car, and then there were people lined up around the fences all the way down on the home side, all the way into the end zone, and then the concession stand set up on a hill, and there were people out there out front. So Mack and I got some good experiences there with that, but I don't think I can say those experiences as a kid were great, but the last 33 years of spending with you as your sideline reporter, and then as your sidekick up in the press box, it's been a great experience. And I know we missed one person, my mother, who went by Mama Jacket, but we would get off topic, and there was a spot up in the press box next to us, and we'd get off topic, and you'd see her head pop around the partition from the next cubicle over, going, "What are you all talking about? Get back and watch the game." They're out there listening to the game, not you about talking about whatever you're going to do on Saturday morning. But she kept us in line.
And she sure did. You mentioned Jim Gay, and I don't want to be on here and leave without speaking some more about him, because he and Roddy were why I stayed in it. I went down to E-Town for a couple of years. And that was the only time, by the way, that I've ever actually broadcast a state tournament championship game, a state football tournament championship game. Bill Ransdell was the E-Town quarterback then. And that, by the way, they beat Franklin Simpson in the semifinals, something Woodford didn't do in '83. They beat Franklin Simpson in the semifinals, and then lost to Fort Thomas Highlands final. That's the only time I've ever broadcast a football high school championship. And then I came back here. There was an opportunity because Roddy didn't feel like that he had the time to do it anymore. And so that got me a job back here, worked at WJMM, did football on the side, and did it ever since.
Ever since. And Mack, I really want to thank you. I mean, you and I get to talk and spend time together a lot. We talk a lot on the phone, probably 3 or 4 times a week. And then when football season starts, it seems to be every night, because when I was married, my wife would call your wife looking for me, and your wife would call my wife or me looking for you. And we usually probably
we don't have an excuse now. There's cell phones.
There you go. But they could find us. They were always looking for us, but we were usually together. And it's hard to believe that 3 weeks from Friday, football season starts here in Central Kentucky, and then you and I will be over in Danville for the Jackets opening up against Wayne County in the Bob Allen Bowl.
Well, the whole schedule, Darren, has changed this year. We've got so many teams that were on the second year of a 2-year contract that dropped off the schedule, so it looks entirely different.
Yeah.
I've got the schedule right here. Do you have the schedule?
I got it memorized. You know that.
Okay. 5 of the first 6 games are at home.
Yeah. The last 3 are on the road. We're making our first ever trip. I know we've gone down there and covered, just gone down to watch scrimmages when Woodford County's girls basketball team would go down and scrimmage Rockcastle. We're making our first ever trip down to Rockcastle County. I hope I come out of there. Not hard to find, but we're going down to the Rock. That'll be the 4th game of the year, I believe. But we open up, as I mentioned, with Wayne County. Then we at Danville. Then we come back home and play Madison Central, along with Franklin County at home. Then we go to Rockcastle, and then we come home for the Governor's Bowl, which is going to be really late in the year for us, but we'll take on Western Hills and a really, really outstanding running back, maybe the best running back we'll see all year, in Wandale Robinson from Western Hills on the 22nd of September. Then we're off the next week, correct?
That is
The 29th.
Yes. Don't come back till October the 6th.
Yeah, so.
That's Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be senior night too, by the way. That's senior night and homecoming both in one. Yeah.
Is between the district and the rest of the games we'll play.
Yeah, and then we go to Madison Southern, and then to can't remember the third team, Montgomery County. And then we come over here to Nicholasville and take on West Jessamine.
Right. So it's a completely rebuilt schedule this year, and of course you only have 3 district games, so you have a lot of teams that we haven't played before or not played very much before. Have never played Wayne County, have never played Rockcastle County, Spencer County. I think we played twice.
We played them twice. Played them 3 times.
3 times?
3 times. Played them twice up in Versailles. We'll play them again in Versailles. And then I missed that game in there. And then we lost big time down there to them in Taylorsville. When between you, me, and Andy Smith, we all 3 had our Google Maps out and got lost trying to find that school because it was directing us.
That was the night we got penalized 200 and something yards of penalties.
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh boy.
It was
I try to forget those kind of games. Those are ugly. But Mack, I do appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Those are the kind you say are the home team had home cooking.
Oh boy.
Because if the team's got 200 plus penalty yards and the other team has nowhere near that.
Yeah, I think they had 30. I think they had 30 that night. So, well, Mack, again, it was an honor to have you on. I mean, I know I get to spend time with you in the press box and then for football games, and then we get to hang out for basketball games when we do them and things. But our viewers don't get to hear much of you, but I really, really invite them to tune into our broadcast on PrepSpin, whether it be on Mixler for most of our away games. We're hoping to have video stream on our games for home games on PrepSpin. So I guarantee you, once you listen to Mack call a game, you'll enjoy listening to him, and you'll understand why I'm proud to be called his partner, because he does a wonderful, wonderful job, and I'm glad to have known you for as long as I have, buddy. It just means we're both getting old. It's all it means. But
well, I've told you this before, Darren. I think you're as good a color man as there is anywhere around here. I really do.
Thank you.
I mean, when you coached football at the middle school, learned a lot about football there because you were a basketball player, really, and learned a lot about it. And I'll tell you what, he can flat talk about football. He can analyze plays. He can say what's coming next or what the coach's strategy is going to be. And he has the stories, and he could he's just like Jim Gay. He's another Jim Gay.
Thank you.
Jim had stories from the past. He go back, he played for Versailles High back in the 50s, and he tell those Pop Collins stories as the coach that he used to play for. And to me, Darren is the modern day Jim Gay. Jim had the storehouse of knowledge from early Versailles football right into the Woodford County football era, and I think Darren sort of picked that up and carried the torch further, so to speak.
Thank you, Mack.
Yeah, I got exciting news for you, by the way.
Okay.
For a 7th year in a row, Kentucky middle school football state tournament live on PrepSpin. Mack, can we get you involved in that?
Probably. Probably. I would be interested.
Well, that's where I gained about 10 pounds one year, because William and I decided we were going to have a trivia thing. We were going to have through Twitter fans that were listening to some of the teams that were involved in those games tweet in to us their best tailgate food, and we had dubbed it Faith, Family, and Football.
Faith, Family, and Football.
Football and food.
And don't forget the food.
And the folks from at that time, Corbin was in this tournament or in that Final Four. Letcher County Central was, and Belfry, and they sent in the god-awfulest amount of recipes and food, and just reading them, I gained weight. And they were outstanding, and I got to go see some of those folks down at Letcher County Central a couple of years ago, and then I got to see some folks at Corbin last year.
I got a good one for you, Mack. Here is, have you ever? Well, let me re-say that. You've been around everywhere in the state of Kentucky as far as covering football. What is your favorite tailgate scenario?
Oh.
Yeah, well, you can give us your favorite tailgate item, but where's the place you've seen the best tailgating at?
Well, I'm going to tell you, William, the first place that I ever had this food. Since then, I've had it several other places. But Darren, you remember over Oldham County?
Yeah, I do.
The first, it was a little bit later on. Maybe in the 90s or something, but they started grilling pork patties, and that was the best food that I've ever eaten. I said, "Boy, these pork chops patties are excellent." And I'd never had one of those before, but since then I've had a lot of places that gone to a lot of places that have served them. But Oldham County was my first taste of those pork burgers.
I tell you what, since I've been doing some games, I left. Somebody asked me why I hadn't been with Mack longer than the 33 I've been with. I took a few years down to Frankfort to work with the radio station down there as the radio broadcast play-by-play person for Franklin County, Western Hills, and Frankfort High. And we just, depending on who the better game was at home that week, we did. And I gotta give a shout out to my boys down at Frankfort High, Larry and all his good buddies across the way over there at Sauer Field. You have never see a bigger spread of food made by 4 guys in your life. And when you go down there and they know you're getting ready to broadcast a game down there, they call you over by name and give you a plate of whatever it is, or a bowl of chili, or a bowl of bean soup, or whatever. And those guys have been doing it for 35, 40 years, maybe longer. They are excellent down there. But somebody asked me why I got in this business. I said I want to continue doing what I do, cover these kids, give the kids the coverage they deserve, and acknowledge how hard they're working to do what they do. But I got to admit, it's when you go certain places, it's for the food. It's for the food.
I'm gonna give you my. Here's my top tailgating school of all time so far.
We've been involved. We've been invited to go to Belfry, and we're starting to. They're starting to get really upset with us, William, because we haven't gotten up there yet.
I haven't experienced Belfry yet, and we need to get down there. It could change this thing totally.
Oh yeah,
because of the several
yes.
emails and the several text messages and Twitter messages, whatever you have it. I mean, they do it all kinds of different. They're very social media about it in Belfry, but listen. I haven't been doing this as long as you guys have.
No.
But the best tailgating food that I have found is right here in our backyard at Lexington Catholic.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. That ribeye at Lexington Catholic, the best in the state.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I told Mack when I started covering Scott County basketball for about 5 years, or actually I covered it for 8 years, excuse me, and I started covering the 8th region. I said, Mack, you got to go with me one night to an 8th region game if Woodford gets eliminated, because you're not going to believe the hospitality room at this place. And my partner at that point in time was Ronnie Hupp, and Ronnie and I would deliberately not eat all day long whenever Scott County was scheduled in the region down at Henry County. Now, they always had it at Henry County because it was a nice gym down there, Winchester Gymnasium. It's a beautiful old gym with the seating of cherry benches. I mean, it's just the same seating they've had there for years. But we would personally not eat, and I would get the awful spread of food. When you go to the hospitality room, they would have lasagna, they would have fried chicken, they would have catfish, they would have roast beef.
South Oldham, by the way, Mack is watching tonight, and they like your comment about Oldham County tailgating.
Yeah, well, we went to South Oldham this year.
What comment about Oldham County?
Yeah, but we went to South Oldham this year for this past season, last year for the first round of the playoffs, and we didn't see anybody tailgating there. I didn't say, or at least I didn't. Did you?
So.
No,
I don't think so.
But it's been an experience, that's for sure. I mean, we've gone to Barron County to do a game. We went down there, we got there 7 hours before kickoff. Somebody asked us why. We got nothing else to do.
I did join you guys one time when we were first starting with Woodford County coverage on PrepSpin, well, Central Kentucky Sports back then, but when we went to John Hardin, it seemed like a pretty cool atmosphere there for tailgating.
It was a really good atmosphere there. The one thing that I don't think Mack and I liked about the press box, it was small. The stands and everything, the press box was huge, but the spot where they put everybody, the PA guy, the clock keeper, the scoreboard operator, and any media personnel was really, really small and tight.
We were very, very little outfit, I think, back then.
Yeah, we were small and things like that. And I remember when I went and told Mack, I said, Mack, I got involved with this guy named William Warfield with Central Kentucky Sports. And he said, well, what? And I said, we do streaming online. And at that time, we would, it was Easy Stream that we were working with and doing all that stuff. And
which
Mack
worked out at the time.
And Mack said, do you think it'll work? And I said, well, hey, I mean, I think it will. And we've had nothing but good response on the Woodford County end of it as well over the years. And, of course, I get out a little bit more than Mack does because he spends about 8 hours a day now over the last, 20 years as a teacher at the middle school.
This will be 22 coming up.
22.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you did this this was your midlife crisis change of career. You went from
labor of love.
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
But we have been so fortunate to meet a lot of great people in this. I mean, I had a show. I actually talked Ed Wright, who was a longtime general manager for WJMM, into having a sports calling show on a Christian radio station. And you know how hard that is to talk a general manager into doing that because you got a lot of programs you got to play.
Yeah.
And he gave me an hour on a Monday night, and Mack had done it a few years before. So that's where I got the idea from. I did steal it from you, Mack. I owe you some royalties for that, probably. But Happy Channel was my first ever interview.
I got a good question for you both.
Sure.
All right, so right now, the way everything is going, you see all these radio stations trying to survive out there right now.
They're all going digital.
Yeah, so either they stream or they're tanking, basically.
Right.
So here's the thing, Mack, let me ask you this, and then Darren, you can follow up with a response. What did you guys think about the whole new way of broadcasting between 20 years ago and now, to where everything is really kind of changed, due to the social media hype that exists right now and the way that everything's going? It seems like more and more radio stations say, hey, no to high school sports, that they just want to play music all day long. But when you're paying attention to the way that people are receiving their music, their content, that type of thing, if you're not on a mobile phone nowadays, you're not really in front of people anymore. Do you guys agree?
Yep.
And being old radio guys, I'm not calling you guys old by any way, but having the experience that you have, transitioning from then to now, how has that changed your all's perception on how everybody listens and watches?
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, look at what you're doing, for instance. This wouldn't have been, we couldn't even dream of doing a show like this or broadcasting like this when I was first got going. I mean, it was all install a telephone line and we piped that through on the radio. And it was always, I just hope that when I go on the road tonight that I don't have a dead phone line. And sometimes you would get there and you try to get there early enough so that you could call repairs if needed to, and they could get there and get you on before the ball game. But sometimes that wasn't possible. And so you just hold your breath every time you went on the road to find a landline telephone line that would work so you could broadcast the ball game. And thank goodness for cell phones.
Yeah.
You don't have to work. You don't have to hold your breath, and you get there. With cell phones, we've been able to at least pass the phone back. As long as there was a cell tower around, you could at least pass the phone back and forth at the very worst, and we did some of that last year.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. But we've got the easiest hookups. You don't have to carry equipment around anymore. We can do it with one little bag sometimes, and the amount of equipment we used to have to do a ball game, it was like almost carrying a studio around with you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, getting older, I'm glad that it's more simple to be able to take your equipment and set it up, and it just is easier to do. But I really like the situation that we've got right now. I love the fact that PrepSpin is doing this. It gives the athletes a lot more notoriety because people see them as well as hear the call of their game, and you promote the athletes really well. The only thing that I ever was skeptical about at first was just kind of getting the word out that the game was going to be on the internet, or the game was going to be on, giving that address, making that address well known to the public, so that every Friday night they wouldn't just be trying to find it on the radio. They would go to the internet and pick you up because they knew the address. And that's what I feared at first. We were doing it, but the people didn't know, who wanted to listen didn't know the address.
Yeah.
And my dad has to keep writing down all the time what the address is so he can remember where to tune in. But I think this is a much better situation for us, and yet probably has pushed the radio stations out of the broadcasting.
Let me just.
Yeah.
I didn't mean for this question to be about PrepSpin or about William Warfield or anything like that. But you guys are part of PrepSpin and us building this all up the way that it has been. You guys are pioneers because you were there with me when it started to where we're at now. But I did want to ask your opinion on it. You're right. In the early days when we first did this back in 2008 and moving forward, I don't know what year the radio station, over in Woodford County,
Well,
it's 2009.
It actually, the radio station left us in 2004 or 5, something like that.
No, I was later than that.
Darren, you remember that we were 1 year on talk radio? 2005, we were on talk radio.
Yeah, we were on talk radio. Actually, we were on 92.1, which was actually used to be in the same group of radio stations that was owned by the same guy owned WJMM, owned 92.1.
Yeah.
And then Jack Mortensen was the owner. He turned around and sold it to Lynn Anderson, not Les Anderson, but I've gone blank. The guy, he owns a series of radio stations now that 92.1 was actually bought by him. They were good friends, and they traded radio stations there. So then I had to scramble to get sponsors for this radio station because we had actually been left out in the cold because of the leadership change at WJMM. And I said, Mack, we may not have a place to broadcast games this year. And I worked on it, got to talking to that group of stations. They got us on the radio station, and we actually had a really interesting year. We had a pretty good team to follow. But then we go down to Johnson Central, and Mack will remember this. We didn't have all the equipment we were supposed to have when we got there. They said, oh, yeah, you got everything you need. Well, we get there, we don't have everything, so we can't get on the air. But thank goodness for the Johnson Central crew radio station. They gave us a cell phone set up to get on the air and to broadcast back to Versailles, so our fans who couldn't make it to Paintsville could do that. And
I will say the people who are in the booth at Johnson Central and the administration treated us great.
They did.
And they're some of the most hospitable people that we have been around in our journeys over the last 30 years or so.
Yeah. And somebody's asked me a question like that too. When it was I think it's for the better of what we're doing now with the internet broadcast system and things. And you on PrepSpin, if you don't want to watch Woodford County or you don't want to watch an LCA game, you can find somebody else along your series of network on PrepSpin. You can find another game to either listen to or watch. And I think that's what's going to be really good about PrepSpin moving forward, and not just PrepSpin, but internet broadcasting in general, is you can do so many different things with it. Like this show right here, right now.
Yeah, this is pretty high tech.
Mack is in Versailles. I drive over here to Nicholasville to be in the studio with you, and if I wanted to, I could be on with Mack in my house as well doing this. But I think it's for the better, to be honest with you.
And probably no time limits either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, but you still have to sell some sponsorship time too.
And get it all for the next program came out.
Right.
Was it difficult selling sponsorship with radio? I know that you had mentioned back in the early days of what we do here at PrepSpin is it was difficult to get people tuned in because we were such ahead of the curve so much. If you think back in 2007 when we first started streaming the audio stuff, right, and then when we led into video, which was very, very low quality video, I remember going to Ashland up there with you guys.
Yeah,
and we did that was one of our very first video broadcasts that we did, and it was through a cell phone tower. But it was like, it was like
low quality.
Old
it's high def now, which is good. But I'll say this, William, for that whole thing, Mack and I have reached people that we didn't know. Now I've had a guy that's he's a good friend of mine from college, but he's when he got his college degree, he moved to Texas and started a practice down there as far as being an attorney. He listens to Mack and I. He'll get in trouble with his wife. I don't recommend that. He'll get in trouble with his wife, so she'll send him down to his man cave and he'll listen to Mack and I on Mixler or on video broadcasts if we're doing them through his television. Mack watched our show a couple of weeks ago through the television in his house there that he has set up. So, I think
I'm at my man cave right now, Darren.
You are? Are you in trouble again?
Yeah, I'm in my cave right now.
That's the other thing too. Sheila, he's married to.
In the yard, I sat down and here we go.
Yeah, he's married to a great lady. Sheila is a great lady. She's put up with him and I talking at all hours of the night on the telephone, or me coming over and us digging through old cassette tapes of broadcast or interviews and things like that, or coming home at all hours of the night after a broadcast or lining the football field for the next game on Friday night. So he's got a good woman there, but
well, Mack,
he's in his man cave now. So
what's going on with you right now? Anything exciting coming up for you, or how's the family doing?
Oh, real well. I got my youngest daughter coming home. She left. Be on her own. She came back, left again. Now she's back again. So
who says you can't come home, right?
She's got a lot more stuff, and so that stuff is going to go in a storage shelter.
Yeah.
She already has her bed and everything for her room, her dressers and things. So we're not going to move hardly anything of hers into our house this time.
Now, do you have? Is she anywhere close by right now?
Well, she's living in Lexington.
Okay.
Right
well, she can't hear well, actually, you'll have to show her this show, because in honor of my father, tell Autumn I said hi. That's what my dad would call her. Her name is Summer, but Dad just to goat her would call her Autumn all the time. And
of course, I've got two grandchildren now. I got a 2-year-old, 3-year-old now, named Chelsea. It's Katie's daughter. And then I've got a almost 1-year-old on August the 6th, and his name is Brady, and that's my son's son.
Landon, yeah.
So, and Landon is a big New England Patriots fan. So, where did the name Brady come from? Well,
of course.
It's not hard.
Well, what you get with us is you get a whole lot. I mean, let me tell you something, and I'm going to put this out there, and a lot of people know this. Gary Ball, our good friend, knows this about Mack. But when Mack was working for the Woodford Sun, he always had to write his stories and have them ready to go for Wednesday night to be in. Well, Mack would also take the pictures. And somebody said, well, how's he taking photos of the game and he's up in the press box? Well, he had a zoom lens on his camera, and he would take pictures for the Woodford Sun from the press box. Not only that, then he would call the play-by-play, but he would also write down each play-by-play and keep stats all at the same time. Now, how he did it, I have no idea. I've tried it. I can't do it.
You know, there's successful people that do that kind of stuff.
Huh?
I don't think I took pictures too much of there.
You took enough to impress me because I'd see him in the paper weekly.
We had a fellow named Dave Huntsman that took.
Yeah, you did. It took a lot too. Yeah, Jim Curtis as well.
Yeah. So, and his pictures were great. So I didn't have to take many pictures.
David gotten sick or something, or couldn't get there to one game, and Mack said, "Here, I'm going to give you my camera from the sidelines." That was not a very good experiment. I don't think I had one picture that turned out that night. But I mean,
you know, Darren, we've had some other people work with us over the years. I mean, had Gary Weil was with us for a while doing stats.
Yeah, you
Bob
could always hear
Gibson,
Gary.
A number of years doing stats for us, and they were great at what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They knew the game, they knew how to keep stats, and they could keep a lot of different stats.
All right.
And what we liked that the way that was going for a while, but of course can't keep it up forever. And since Bob, we really haven't had a statistician.
No, we've usually been trying to do it on the fly ourselves.
We've done it on the fly ourselves. Right?
That's kind of tough too.
About me marking down each play.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, I'd go back and stat the game on each play.
He asked me over one Saturday to do that, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. You can do this on your own.
Then I'd send him to Coach Johnson, so he would be able to send them to the PHSAA.
Yeah, Dennis Johnson, the newest athletic director at Woodford County. He's also still a football coach over there. So I tell you, Mack, you and I could talk about our 33 years together forever. You know, and I tell you this, and
33 years is a lot of years.
Huh?
33 is a lot of time.
It is. And I'll tell you this. There was a couple of people who are very well respected in this business, not only this business but the media business in general, who I got to sit at a table at a fundraiser with one night, and they both compliment the work that you do on at Woodford County, and don't get recognition for it because you're not at the Herald Leader or with WVLK or all these other big media outlets, but they listen to you. And when I say the names, they're Hall of Famers. Billy Reed was one, and well, actually there's three. Bob White, who was a longtime sports editor down at the Louisville Courier Journal,
Bob.
and then I've gone blank. Gee whiz, Larry Vaught, the Danville Advocate Messenger, who we'll probably see here in a couple of weeks over there at the Danville bowl game. So those three guys were very complimentary of you. And then, of course, we're going to have a guy on a little bit later who Mack and I have been dealing with over the years whenever Woodford County and Montgomery County play.
Yeah.
You think Mack's been doing it a long time with 36 years? This guy's been doing it for, I think, starting his 43rd or 44th year, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Dan Manley.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get him on the show here.
They call him Dan the Man.
Dan the Man, and I tell you what, you want to talk about a guy who's adapted to a lot of different stuff and a lot of different
Superman
analysts
Dan.
as well. He is as good. he's had I think a knee or hip replacement, and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
So
he writes the articles for the newspaper.
And he has his own morning show too. So on the radio station over there. So
sort of a jack of all trades too.
Yeah, so it's and I told you this when you got into it. This business is just simply it is a fraternity. It's a fraternity of people, and once you make some friends in it, they can either make you or break you because of the way you conduct yourself and things. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to move through and make some really good friends over this time. So, Mack, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, and thank you all for having me on tonight. It really was enjoyable, and I was able to think of some things that had happened that I never really had thought of until I came on this show, and something triggered those thoughts. So kind of was a little bit nostalgic.
Yeah, well, I'll see you in 3 weeks when we get this high school football season on the road. I got a busy weekend that weekend. I'm on Friday night over here with William and those guys here in Jessamine County for their bowl game over here, and then I'll be in Danville with you the following night.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Another season, more Friday nights.
More Friday nights.
More Friday nights. Love them.
Yep. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Mac.
You too. See you, William.
Well, William, I tell you, and you know this, when I talk about it, I mean, a lot of people say you talk a lot, but from being around me so much, when I talk about Mack Calvert, you can tell just how much that guy has meant to me in my lifetime. And not only as a broadcaster, but just as a person, because he's been there through some things with me and my family. I've been there through some things with him and his family. And I think it carries over in our broadcast. You've heard our broadcast, and you know how we are when we're on broadcast. We're professional, but yet you can tell we really care not only about what sport we're covering, but each other as well.
Pull that mic a little bit closer here. Yeah.
You got comfortable over there just now.
Yeah, I just kind of kicked back and just listened to you guys talk. I figured that it wasn't.
It wasn't more of an interview.
It wasn't my thing to have hardly any part of that interview. I felt like I just sat back and listened to you guys because we got the better part of the interview with just you two without me involved.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, you've been around us for the last several years now too, so you know how we go about things. And one thing I told you, and you actually got to see it that night you went up to Ashland with us for that broadcast, was I told you about Mack's notebook. That is Woodford County and Versailles High football facts and stats and figures and all this good stuff. And it literally, I mean, if anybody knows what the book War and Peace looks like, it makes War and Peace look like a book of like Curious George. I mean, Mack's notebook is ridiculously thick, and it's got everything, every stat you can think about, every player you can think about that came through Woodford County, every opponent they played that came through. I mean, it's just... It's obscene how this guy is so well organized when it comes to that stuff. And then I just come in and I provide the supposed expert opinion on some things, and then for a lot of people I provide some comic relief because I come up with some really funny things off the cuff. I mean, I'll never forget one of my favorite. Have most broadcasters have a catchphrase like Gary's a soup and a sandwich for basketball for a basket and a foul to get a potential of a three-point play. Well, one night I just said, Woodford County was driving the ball down the field and kept having problems when they get inside the 20 of scoring. They either have a penalty or a turnover, or they turn it over on downs. They just couldn't get it in the end zone. And I just said, well, they've got the Barney Fife syndrome. And Matt kind of looked at me out of the corner of his eye, and he said, what do you mean by that? And I said, because they keep shooting themselves in the foot like Barney used to do, trying to get his gun out of his holster. That's why Andy told him to take the bullet out of the gun and put it in his pocket instead. And when I said it, Mack just kind of almost fell out of his chair during the broadcast. But we got so much reception over that. But and you've heard Mack do games. I invite people on the 19th of August to join us here on whether it be PrepSpin or the KHSAA Hall of Fame. There's nobody as good as he is right now doing it, I don't think. I know there are other guys that have been out doing it as well. But he's well deserving of it just because he is as good as anybody. He's had opportunities to go other places and has not gone.
Yeah.
And he's covered high school sports. He's had chances to do college sports and decided not to do it. He's as good as they come in.
All right, brother. Well,
sorry about that.
No, that's good.
I tell you, when I get on the soapbox about Mack Calvert, I can talk all day about him. He's as good. He's as good a friend as he is a broadcaster.
Yeah, keep. I got to get used to where these cameras are.
Yeah.
In the studio.
Yeah, I'm leaning.
I keep wanting to look at the screen, but if you look at the screen, then you can't really look directly at the camera, and it kind of.
Well, we're working.
We're working on it. Yeah, we're going to get better.
This studio is a work in progress. I mean, it's what you see right now on the screen is something better than it was 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's because I went to Florida for.
Well, but I'm talking about the studio, not talking about you.
Okay.
Yeah. But the studio is in better shape than it was 2 weeks ago, and when we do it next week, it'll be in better shape. It's starting to take form and shape here, and as long as the show is too. But
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
I'm having a ball with this, brother. I really am. And you know, if we can get guys like that's the other thing too. I want to get people to hear people like Dan Manley, like Mack Calvert, like Gary Ball. I mean, those guys that call play-by-play of games. The guy up in Mason County, I can't think of his name right offhand. You know, I got a partner over at Georgetown that reminds me of a younger Gary Ball and Matt Calvert. His style's a lot similar as well.
World ain't ready for that yet, are they?
Third one, no, I don't know. But he's as good as they come as well, and he and I have a great time covering Georgetown College. And anytime I can pump up Georgetown College, being an alum, it's kind of easy to do. But looking forward to that as well. So.
All right. Well, just want to again thank our sponsors here on the network. Alt 32 want to thank those fine folks, are the folks that build the, build gyms and schools and things like that. I want to thank them for all that they do. Of course, this is the BGO studio, Bluegrass Orthopedics studio right here that you're watching the show live from here tonight. I want to thank them. Our title sponsor on the network as well. We want to thank Greer and Maggard Orthodontics for all your braces needs. Make sure you go check them out. Closest location to us right now is the Beaumont Center, although they got one in Nicholasville. They got one in Danville. I mean, they're all over the place. You guys just check them out. But Beaumont Center is definitely a place to go if you're here in Central Kentucky. I would imagine that they offer all their stuff at. And then just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Mingy Beef Jerky, want to thank those fine folks as well. Curtis Mackley and their amazing product over there. Simply Great Soaps. Can't forget them. They're handcrafted soaps over in Paris as well. I'm waiting on some samples of those to come over to us. Matter of fact, I might pay them a visit.
Do we have is
All Sports in Fayetteville?
All Sports. Is Rafferty still one of ours as well?
Rafferty's we bring on with Gary when Gary does broadcast. Yeah.
So we got a lot of. I mean, and folks, that's what makes us. Yeah. We can do this, but we can't go and get update equipment and keep ahead of the curve and be able to provide a very good, solid product online if we don't have sponsors.
By the way, I mentioned that this is the BGO studio you see there on, but behind me is the very first 4K streaming tank. It can stream 4K.
I wonder what that was.
It is.
It looks like a popcorn machine to me. Behind
it is a 4K streaming tank.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. See, when you're
in the process of being built,
the food is why I got in this business.
A lot of people have been asking me tonight, well, hey, what's that thing behind you? Well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. The other thing that says Rode microphone on it, that's just a cover for another mic that we've got here, just in case one of our mics go down.
Or we decide to bring somebody else into this circus.
Sound, the mixer here, always is good to have. Yeah. Of course, we're using the Rode mics. We're a big fan of Rode mics, by the way. Maybe it's because we're big fans of Kyle Rode. Maybe.
Well, what we do, I'll just speak for myself. We just show up. We just show up.
Show up and get it done. That's right.
Show up and get it done.
All right. Well, we certainly have been on here
a long time.
Tonight.
We're trying to get this down to an hour and a half show at least. At the very most,
it's impossible.
And you know what though, but you and I get talking sports.
We can go as long as we want though.
And it's just so much fun to do it. I mean, and people say, why do you do what you do? Why have you been doing this so long? You don't make a ton of money at it. Well, no, but you know, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, if we wanted to do a lot of money, we could do what ESPN does. But what are they doing right now?
Well, yeah, I mean,
but what are they doing right now? You know, they're starting to streamline some stuff too.
If you want to make money in this business, you got to do those big events.
Yeah, and we can do some big events because the biggest event you do at all of the KHSAA state finals and stuff. You know.
Well, yeah, but I also do 50 Division I college basketball games a year too. So I mean, that's really where.
Yeah. But our biggest event, as far as locally,
Lexington Legends, don't want to forget them.
But our biggest event probably is that middle school tournament.
Yeah,
you want to hear a fun time?
We do that for we do that for the
kids.
But
if you want to,
we definitely don't make.
If you want to see sports, if you want to see sports and entertainment at its truest form, tune in that weekend. Get on PrepSpin, look for the dates, look for the times. And we've actually talked Coach Mike Meehan last year into coming. Now he's bugging me. When's that tournament again?
You know, all these guys.
He loved it.
all these guys that are stars now in high school football.
A lot of them, yes, sir.
A lot of them, yeah. I mean, we saw them 5 years ago in
That
the middle
Belfry
school state
team,
tournament.
that Belfry team. That
we knew Belfry was good.
Oh,
yeah.
geez, that Bowling Green team. We've seen a bunch of guys off of that.
I'm gonna see if we can get the Belfry people on this show.
I'm trying. I'm working on
Have
it.
you been contacting?
I've emailed them. I guarantee there's nobody up at school, but I've got a contact number to do that, and I'll do that shortly. I'd love to get Coach Haywood on.
Yeah, and this may grow into more than just Wednesday night, by the way.
Oh, I'd love it.
Because we got so much interest.
I would love it
from everybody wanting to come
What
on
better
the show.
what better thing to do than talk sports?
All the time.
You know what I'm saying?
We do anyway, right?
Well,
Might
we
as
do.
well put it on the show.
You
and
and
put it out there.
I said Mack and I talk 3 or 4 times. How many times a week do you and I talk? 4 or 5? Yeah. Maybe more. It's just it's a lot of fun and good stuff. But William, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this. I mean, you and I have been together 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
So I'm looking forward to this season. Have we decided on our football schedule? Yeah, I know we're here on the 18th for those games.
Now, here's the kicker with that one is the VisitNick.com Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the kicker with that is I also got Lexington Legends game that night that I didn't realize that I had. So
I got an idea. Set us up. I can run it.
Yeah, that might be something that we have to do, possibly.
Now, we can't put Gary in charge of it. He'll have us.
Well, we know that and it's a good positive thing that Nicholasville is supported by their local radio station,
Mm-hmm.
so we know that they got coverage with that. So, that's a great thing. And then, by the way, Will Osborne, he does a fantastic job. But we were hoping to get the HD video involved in that. I still think we can pull that off. I just got to get. I got to talk to my boss over at the Legends.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But if nothing else, then the only place have we decided to do the Bob Allen Bowl the next night?
No. The 19th LCA. We're under contract with Lexington Christian Academy. I didn't realize it was a Saturday that they opened up. So I got to do that. So you guys will definitely have to do a audio broadcast there.
You want us to do both of them?
Do audio, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tune right here. If you are a fan or you want to know how,
we'll put it on the main page.
How they do their first game ever. We're going to cover the Frederick S. Douglass High School Stallions' very first varsity football game. You can't find it anywhere else.
Right.
But right here on PrepSpin.
Yeah, and we need to tell everybody out there too that we got several contracts that we got out there with 2 of the hoop private schools in Lexington that we have to schedule, fulfill our contract with, and then which LCA has got more games this year than anybody because of the new agreement that we've got in place with them. But we also got throughout the year we got the KHSA state championship tournaments that we do. And then the Lexington Legends, of course, and then we got the college basketball stuff that we picked up last year that's all throughout November. All of that, plus we do, like you said, the Kentucky Middle School Football State Tournament. Yep. This will be our 7th year doing that. And then, just here and there, every little thing. The Lady Knights Challenge Cup that we talked about earlier in the show with Coach Zoeller. A little bit of everything, man. I really can't name all the events off the top of my head, but then you throw that in with all the regional and district tournaments that we do throughout the year.
And that's the thing too. We're working on getting more equipment where we can do.
We did over 250 games last year on the network.
And William and I've traveled all over the place together.
Yeah, I mean,
probably the worst trip we ever took was to Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the last few years we've been all over the United States doing this thing.
Well, you have been for sure, and I've traveled a few places with you in other states as well. So
we got coming up in November, like I said, with all those basketball games. So check this out. Here's my itinerary in November. Going to the Bahamas to do college basketball.
You're doing that.
We're doing our classic
Atlantis thing, the Atlantis tournament.
Yeah. We're doing that. I think EKU's involved with that this year.
Of course, you'd be the year after UK left that. So.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
I know, but anyway.
But
I'm going to give you a hard time. I've left you alone all night.
Here's my biggest one that we got. We got the Gulf Coast Showcase, which is down in Estero, Florida, which is at Germain Arena down there. So we got that going on, which is going to be 24 college basketball games, 12 for men, 12 for women. But the women's thing is loaded. They got South Carolina and they got Notre Dame in it. and last year we had Ohio State and Baylor that was in it. So, I mean, that thing is totally loaded. And then from there, I go to Vegas, and we got.
And you drive out there.
Well,
am I right?
We're gonna fly out there.
You're gonna fly the.
We got two big events in Vegas coming up.
I was gonna say this guy's crazy. He drives for the last 2 or 3 years all the way out to Vegas.
I like getting out there, and I call it the. You ever watched Chevy? You remember those old Chevy Chase?
Vacation, yeah, movie Vacation, yeah.
Yeah, man, I've driven that route several times.
Yeah,
but. I'm giving you all kinds of TV time, by the way.
I'm
all good, man.
I'm not looking at myself either. It just kind of.
I'm the guy that likes to be behind the scenes anyway. I really don't.
Yeah, when he came to me and said he was going to do this show and he's getting in front of the camera, I was like, he's never done that before. That's where he feels, and he's actually getting better at it. To be honest with you.
Yeah, that's out of my thing, but I like producing and doing that kind of thing. But listen. So we leave Florida, we go to Vegas. We got basketball there, and then
I missed out on that too. I was supposed to go do that with you.
I come back here, and then we got the LCA Holiday Tournament that's coming up, and then we got Jack's going to be over at Lexington Catholic doing the 2 Lexington Catholic tournaments there for us, and then. It's going to be crazy. I mean, if you think the rest of this year, man, it is crazy. And then come January, we got ice hockey, college ice hockey we're doing out in Vegas again.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then you throw in all this high school sport. We do more high school sports, by the way, than anything. So
that's all. A lot of people ask me, "What's PrepSpin?" I said, I said the best thing to do is just get on the site and check it out. No, I can't tell you everything we do.
Here's what I did. I took and said all the high school stuff from now on. This is new for this coming season, right? All the high school stuff from this now on. PrepSpin is totally dedicated to high school stuff. I created a separate brand for everything else. Well, and it's Warfield Media.
Okay, here's what I want you to understand too. And I've had people, and you and I have talked about this for 4 or 5 years. I did a video stream of the huge wrestling tournament over at Woodford County, the Woodford County Invitational. The last 2 years we have not done the finals.
That's a PrepSpin thing.
Yeah, the last 2 years we have not done the finals, so I am going to do everything. Oh boy, have we heard about it! Not only me, but William's he's called me and said, "Man, do you know how many emails I've gotten because we're not doing this?" And it's because we have so many out-of-state teams in that.
Yeah.
That
team from Georgia keeps winning it, don't they?
They haven't been here the last 2 years. That coach moved to another school, and he's brought his team up here the last 2 years.
I see.
But I mean, we've had a lot of great teams. We had teams from Florida. We've had teams from Indiana. We've had teams from Ohio, Georgia, Alabama, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. I mean, it's been, but so folks that are watching that have fallen in love with watching high school wrestling, I'm going to do my dead level best to have the championship rounds of the Woodford County Invitational Wrestling Tournament on this.
Do you know
winter.
what the dates are?
It's between Christmas and New Year's. That's all I know.
Yeah, see, that's such a busy time for.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to have equipment through myself to be able to do that.
We've got to duplicate.
We may have to combine equipment. I can get some of my own stuff, and you hopefully give me some stuff that we can get at least one camera on.
Yeah. I'm looking at Darren on the.
I'm about ready to fall asleep.
That's okay, man. We're
both tired. We both have pushed ourselves to the extreme.
I'm just chilling tonight, man.
Well,
just chilling.
I had somebody text me a while ago saying, "Man, you guys going forever on this show." Well,
we don't have no time limit.
Have no time limit.
We own it.
our ultimate goal.
We own the show.
Our ultimate goal though is to do an hour and a half.
Yeah,
that's our ultimate.
So basically, what we do with the show is it's split up into parts. So we can talk on here live as long as we want to. Okay.
Yeah.
But what we do is we'll take out each segment and we'll put that out as a separate video as well. So not only do you have the whole show, which might be 3 hours long by the time we're done tonight, it's 2.5 hours now. So not only do we have that, but each segment, like for example, if you want to go back and just watch the Coach Weiser segment, you can go back and watch that. Or if you just want to go back and watch the Coach Zoeller segment, you can go back and watch that, and then we'll clip out Matt Calvert segment, and you can go back and watch that as a separate video. So this whole thing is
you can do
content for us.
Yeah, you can do 4. You can do the entire version, or you can watch one of the 3 different segments as well. And That's what's good. I mean, and again, I recommend if you like football,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody watches the college ranks and the pro ranks and the high school ranks, Coach Mike Meehan, who is very well known, he played here at Kentucky, he coached at Dunbar, he's coached at LCA, he's coached at Bryan Station. We actually got him to join me last year as my analyst.
Mm-hmm.
And what were his exact words to us, William? It was a long day, yes, for him too, but he said, "Man, I am very impressed at the level of talent of these kids at this age."
Yeah.
And this is a guy who's been around football a long, long time. And we've seen some great games. Probably the best catch we've ever seen, or one of the best catches we've ever seen, happened our third or fourth year.
Yeah, the Sam's kid.
By Devin Sams. And
Yeah.
Devin's a longtime viewer of ours. So, Devin, if you're up down there in Corbin watching and listening, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, he's
great
around.
young man. He has not had the high school career he wanted to have. He's had a really terrible shoulder surgery, and then after he got out for his freshman year, then last year, his sophomore year, he tore up his knee.
So I'm going to take a production selfie.
Take a production selfie.
Does that make sense?
Now, if I tried to do that, oh boy,
there you have it, production selfie.
Yeah, we have officially.
I'll have to tweet that out later.
We have officially become slap happy, both of us. But
it's been fun though tonight.
It's a lot of fun.
Let's go ahead and get this show wrapped up.
Yeah, because I got to drive home.
Yeah,
that's the only downfall of me coming over here.
This is right here, right here in my backyard. But hey, listen, we want to thank Coach Weiser. Man, it's always an honor to have a legend. By the way, get him in the Hall of Fame. Somebody fill out that paperwork. You got to recommend to the KHSA Hall of Fame
board.
Nominate,
and then it's got to
nominate. And let's send it off there.
Yeah, 75% of the vote or something has to be. I don't know.
We need to get him in the Hall of Fame, folks. And somebody out there that's watching tonight, fill out paperwork. We'll do the same. We need to get that in there so that he's honored like he needs to be, and deserves to be, by the way. But also want to thank Mack Calvert, who, again, is Hall of Fame worthy with his outstanding career.
Yeah, he's
and I want to thank them, and then of course Coach Rob Zoeller, who I don't know, he might be tuning in now and saying, "Man, get off the air so I can go to bed." But yeah, we want to thank him as well, and we wish Simon Kenton the best of luck this year. They're gonna have a good team returning.
Well, I got a text from our good buddy Gary Ball. He says, "I'm watching down here in Florida."
He's in Florida or in Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah, he's up in Michigan.
Well, he's been in Florida a couple of weeks ago. And I'm telling him, I got 3 words for him. He hates it when I do this to him. Get over it, Gary. That's 4. But, I mean, again, we pick on each other. I mean, William and I pick on each other. Gary and I pick on each other. Mack and I pick on each other. It's a fraternity, and we all genuinely do like each other and care. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
All right. Well,
I just need a shirt, dude.
Yeah, we'll get.
I know.
I got my buddy Ryan Tyson over at Crown Trophy. That's another one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
I need to think. Why haven't I done that tonight? By the way?
Boy!
I know we played their commercial, but Crown Trophy.
I need a big boy size, by the way. Big boy.
Yeah, all right, we'll get you a 3X, buddy. So listen, Crown Trophy went on to thank them. By the way, they're the guys that printed up all of our shirts. I'm gonna call Ryan Tyson and say, "Man, it's a new season. Let's get some more.
Get something.
Let's get some more done and see what he says." But anyway, I want to thank those fine folks over there at Crown Trophy.
Is workout anytime? I know you were working on that. Have they signed on?
I haven't heard back from Workout Anytime. I think we need to pay you guys.
I know the guy Brett Least over for sales is all excited
I'm a member.
about the Woodford County broadcast.
Hey, I kid you not.
I understand you are.
I am. Look at this.
I don't know, but I just had a bug fly.
Look at this. I get a workout anytime.
There you go.
We got the doors and the windows open.
Well, it's cooler in here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I just thought, now what are we going to do in this studio?
That's one thing that we haven't got. What are we going to do
in this studio, though?
It's going to be better as we get into
when
the
it gets
fall.
winter, though.
Oh,
I guarantee it's going to be cold in here.
No. We got that. We got that taken care of. Man. Okay. I got space heaters. Just like going to Western Kentucky,
or just like going to a press box.
Yeah, we're working. We'll have all that installed.
Most press boxes.
This is brand spanking new.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's brand spanking new. So
we're rambling now.
Just an addition. All right.
Shut my mic off so I'll shut up.
All right, man. We're going to go ahead. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check us out again next Wednesday, talking sports here on PrepSpin. Mingy Beef Jerky, the official game day snack of PrepSpin, and White Greer Maggard Orthodontics. They are our title sponsor on the network, Bluegrass Orthopedics. Want to thank those fine folks, all 32, all sports over in the Fayette Mall. If you see it on the field, you see it on the floor.
And Simply Soaps.
You can get it at all sports. And then, Simply Soaps. Want to thank those fine folks as well. Handcrafted soaps made over in Paris. Want to thank those fine folks. And leaving anybody out?
I think that's everybody. I think we finally got everybody. I think.
There's probably somebody I'm leaving out and don't mean to.
That's what we need to start writing it down and hanging it up.
Yeah, we got to put it up here. Episode 4, we'll have that ready.
Well, between the two of us, we don't have one good memory when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, we got too much sports on the brain right now. But I know one. Definitely don't want to forget Lexington Diagnostic Center.
Oh yeah,
Lexington Diagnostic Center. They can get you MRIs much cheaper than the hospitals can. Ask for Lexington Diagnostic Center. You don't have to go to the hospital, by the way, folks, to get your MRI done. You have a choice, and that choice can save you money with Lexington Diagnostic Center. So check them out. You can get on their website, and also they're on Twitter. Make sure you follow them on Twitter as well, and Instagram and Facebook. They're on everything. Social friendly Lexington Diagnostic Center, Dr. Huff and their great staff over there. So, and don't want to forget my good friend, their marketing manager over there, Devonna Sayre. I want to thank her for all that she does as well for us. So, I want to thank all those fine folks. But
and
been fun, man.
By the way, real quickly, on a sad note before we get off here, the sister-in-law of one of our good friends, Mike Ritchie, was killed in a car wreck over the weekend. Down in Alabama when her and her husband were on vacation. Mike's brother.
Yeah.
One of our thoughts and prayers go out to the family on that. So Mike and his brother Kevin, our prayers and thoughts with you folks. I hate to end it on a bad note, but wanted to get that out to Mike and let him know that all of us here at PrepSpin are thinking about him.
Yeah, definitely send your prayers up for the Ritchie family on that. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Mike's a good friend of ours.
Really good friend. Spent a couple of games in the 11th Region Baseball Tournament with us.
Yeah.
Over there in Berea this year. So,
yep.
But thoughts and prayers to them. And, boy, it's hard to believe. We're 2 weeks away from soccer and 3 weeks away from football at the high school level here on PrepSpin.
And volleyball, too.
Yeah, and volleyball too. That's right. Forget about volleyball in the fall.
Woodford going to be good in volleyball?
Young.
Okay.
Very young.
Yeah.
But we've got, volleyball in the area is really starting to pick up because of the success of programs like Lindsey Wilson, Campbellsville, Georgetown. Midway had a pretty good year as well.
Now, but
I'm just saying,
high school.
As far as college,
high school, you got Tate's Creek, which I think only lost one game last year.
But what I'm saying is the high school programs are benefiting from the smaller colleges in UK and Louisville being so good
Henry
nowadays.
Clay.
They're starting to
Tate's Creek,
to
Henry Clay, West Jessamine in Jessamine County, man. They were Bill Bird and there, man. We got to get him on too.
So we've got a bunch of good stuff.
On. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. For Darren Douglas, who you see right there.
See you.
See you, everybody. This is William Warfield saying until next time. So long, everybody.